So now what do I do? Well, I guess there's only one thing. There's something I'd like to know. Are you real? Can you feel?
Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube. I use spirits and my intuition, the tarot, to communicate energies to you guys, fabulous viewers. If you guys are new to this channel, welcome. I'm so glad you guys found me. And for those of you guys returning, I'm so blessed to be here, so grateful. I can't wait to get into your reading. And you guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today. Today's reading, we're taking a look at your spiritual journey and what it is Spirit wants you to see or understand about your journey specifically, okay? So this could be a little challenging. All right, but this is intended for those of you guys who are wanting to see beyond yourself, anything that might reveal itself in way of growth so that we can ascend or move closer to God or to the truth. Okay, so these are the decks I'll be using. These are the decks I'll be using for today's reading. Okay, down here. And this will be a pick a card or a pick an option reading, and I'll get into our three options in the next scene. But for those of you guys who are interested in any of these decks, I'll put a link right here, and there is a playlist where I reveal a lot of these oracles and tarot cards for those of you guys who are interested in seeing all of the cards in the decks. All right, so beautiful angels, we will get into your three picks, and I will see you guys there. All right, so we have three options to choose from for today's reading. Option number one is this carved alabaster, I do believe. Elephant. For option one. Option number two, we have this carved kitty. It's made of lapis lazuli stone. All right, and option number three, we have this carved turtle made of rose quartz. All right, so sit with this energy. If you get stuck, close your eyes, open your eyes. Whichever one you're called to will most likely be your pile. Now, if you are on a twin flame journey or a spiritual journey with another, their energy could certainly pull through here, okay? If the energy doesn't sound like your energy, but sounds like someone you're with, then that is a part of your spiritual journey, okay? Because sometimes we do journeys in tandem. And so to understand our brother, to understand our sister, to look into the mirror is to provide insight into our own soul. And so this is why it comes through this way, okay? But we don't have to listen to what we don't want to listen to. But this is why I say it could be triggering, because we can have other people sort of pull through here, okay? But this might provide insight as to your own perspective, your own mirror. All right, but yeah, sit with this energy, and then once you're ready, select from the timestamp down below, and I will see you guys at your pick. Gorgeous angel pile number one, you guys picked the alabaster elephant, and we're getting into your spiritual journey and what you're needing to know. Now, I do issue a trigger warning only because sometimes these journeys could be very challenging if we're going through healing to push beyond ourselves, okay? And I did mention that sometimes we're on journeys with other people because the best way for growth is through a mirror of other people. So this might show an insight to someone or a situation you might be dealing with, okay? If it's holding up a mirror, then it is showing you something, okay? It's not intended to create triggering. You're the only one in your own world, okay? So no one can do anything to you. All right, this is going to be how you're engaged here, or anything that needs to be revealed to you so that you can progress, ascend, heal, move towards God, whatever you want to call it, okay, towards truth, so that you can be at peace and free yourself of any suffering. Okay, so let's ask Spirit about your spiritual journey. Spirit, for pile 1 specifically, can we get whatever is going on in the spiritual journey for pile 1? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. Thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing your reading. If you guys want to skip ahead, you can certainly do so. Okay, but I do include this part so you can watch me pull the cards, but also for those of you guys developing your intuition, we'll let the card layout sort of serve as confirmation. Come up with what you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether this pile is your pile. Clear and concise message. 2, no, 1 more. That's your card. Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 1 and their journey. What are they needing to know right now? Can we take a deep dive into... No, that doesn't feel right either. There's a lot of second guessing, hesitation, which doesn't normally happen when I pull cards. So we could be doubting something. There could be a lack of trust. Trust in the divine, trust in our decisions, trust in what's unfolding. So we could have a lot of anxiety, maybe some doubt on, I don't know. So it says in advance. We'll read them shortly. What's going on with pile number 1, spirits, in the spiritual journey? 1 more? No. Alrighty. Pile 1. Spiritual journey. What are we needing to know for the greatest and highest good of pile 1? Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. We'll take this one. Self-preservation disguised as self-sabotage. 1 more. 78. So that's the number 15, which is devilly energy. Capricorn energy. And we also have 1, which is magician, and it could be heavy Mercury energy, which is Virgo and Gemini for pile 1 spiritual journey. Okay. All right, let's take a look. So the ones that revealed itself, we have in advance, number 10, temporality with ego level. It says earlier than expected, got ahead, proceed early, prematurely, before the hour. Type 1, the perfectionist instinctive center between control and letting go. I'm having a really hard time breathing right now. I feel there's a lot of anticipation of something. I don't feel we're in the present moment at all. Okay. And so because Mercury's coming up, we might be in our head a lot, and we might have challenged speaking because, like I said, I'm having troubles breathing. And because of all of this hesitation, it's like maybe we have a lot of self-doubt. But here we have self-preservation disguised as self-sabotage. So this is a way to protect ourselves. And we'd rather even do like look in a certain way or do whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as we're okay and safe. And it's like, I don't want to put myself out there or something. That's what it kind of feels like. But let's see. There's lots of cards we still need to see. Okay, so we have planning. Yeah, look at this. It's kind of going hand in hand with this in advance, because it's like it must be perfect in some way. Like I must manipulate energy so that the perfect outcome can kind of happen for me. Otherwise, so there's a lot of control I'm feeling here. Okay, so fixation 43. 43 might be an age. We have 7, planning, escape routes, inventiveness, possibilities, projects, imagination, and improvisation. Type 7, the enthusiast thinking center between pleasure and pain. So we have the green ray coming through, which is the heart chakra. 7 is Cancer energy. And that's Chariot Tower energy as well. Okay, so we have trust. Yeah, remember I said there might be a lack of trust in something or your own ability. We have 15, which again is the devil energy pulling through, you guys. So we have 6, that's lovers, devil, Capricorn, Gemini. Gemini's this Mercury. Okay, so presence versus anticipation. That's the energy I'm feeling. Okay, did I not say, are we in the present moment? Are we like anticipating what might happen and projecting into the future here? So presence versus anticipation, fear management, yes. So it must be perfect before I can say or do, because I'm in my mind about how it might go. Okay, inner security, faith and security, stress management. Type 6, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust. Exactly this. All of that is creating this self-sabotage. Yeah, so either which way, we're experiencing self-sabotage, regardless if we're the ones sort of knowing or creating this. Okay, we might be consciously creating the self-sabotage, but it's still self-sabotage nonetheless, because we're trying to preserve ourselves. Wow, this is very layered. Okay, Pluto, the shadow self. Okay, so number 10. This is like, yeah, like the subconscious and all of our shadow. Okay, stuff that might be unknown to us. Reasons why we do sort of what we do here. Also, a hand could talk about accountability, taking action. Okay, you get a lot of divine masculine sort of energy from the hand. So we're feeling some Aries energy. Also, some sun energy, which could be talking about consciousness, enlightenment, things coming to the surface that we're needing to see so we could take action on or be accountable for. Okay, and the web, I'm getting this like creator energy of like we are the master manifestors of our environment, hence this one, which is magician energy, as above, so below. And I create this thing, and I think what we're creating we don't like, or at least the reality that we are creating is falling short of some greater truth, okay, because of all this anticipation or hesitation or lack of self-trust or lack of trust in the divine. Alrighty, avoidance. Face what you fear, for avoidance is but a temporary refuge. Evasion, neglect, and denial. Yeah, so that's that. We'd rather preserve ourselves than face the truth or deal with something here, okay? That's the accountability of the hand. So we have denial. Oh my goodness, 35 and 8. Defense mechanism, ego level. So 8 is my ego number only because it represents strength in the tarot. Okay, but in the light attribute, the strength is like having the courage to face our fears. Okay, and there's a big fear here that we're avoiding or denying or suppressing or not wanting to accept or look at. Okay, so reality denial, disapproval, refute, negation, avoidance, coming through very strong, refusal of weakness. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. I just heard I can do, I can do, I can do. So we have a belief maybe that we're supposed to be able to do everything or do things, and that's unrealistic. No one can do all things perfect or do all things, you know. And so maybe we have a belief here that we're supposed to be able to do something that we're needing to accept that we can't do. And not because we can't do it, because there's lack and limit in the world, but it's like the shadow part is accepting us as we are, meeting us as we are. And so we're all things. And we don't reject any part of us, or else we fragment ourselves. And so it's like, I accept all the things I can do and all the things that I'm limited by right here, right now. So I can embrace this, but I feel we're shunning a part of ourselves away. It's like, I don't want to look at that part of me that thinks it can't do this, you know? It must be able to do it. And so then there's all this planning and all this stuff. Wow, okay. Trust again, second time, 2 different decks, I do believe. Let me see, because that'd be very synchronistic here. Yes, look at that. Trust, trust. Faith in others, well-being, certainty, fidelity, benevolence, and feeling of security. Another 6, which is devil lovers. Are we choosing fear or are we choosing love? Okay, type love, the loyalist thinking center between mistrust and trust. And I just want to show you, look how big this deck is. Both of them are this thick, okay? And you guys got trust and trust out of both of these. Of course, if this is your energy, this is the other deck. Okay, and so that was what was coming through very strong when I was shuffling the cards. Like, I don't have trust or faith that, you know, and then I got to all this anxiety, anticipation of something. Like faith in others, well-being, like if people let us down, you know. Or do we fear we might let others down? It could be a tit for tat. There's a lot of fear here in facing something. in case it doesn't work out or it fails or it doesn't pan out, and it's driving our actions. So disbelief, taking on responsibility. What I say about the hand, okay, personal decision, insecurity. Yeah, I don't want to fail. I'm insecure because I might not be able to pull it off or do the thing. Okay, taking risks alone, breakdown of trust, breakdown of trust. Okay, opposite of this whole thing, destruction of beliefs. Type 6, again, 666. Okay, so 3 6s. You might be seeing a lot of 6s. I'd look up angel number 666. Okay, but 66 is a master number. Service is a source of joy in which one pours from an overflowing cup, not martyrdom. So we must fill our cup. Okay, so lovers and devil, Gemini and Capricorn. Mistrust and trust. Okay, lots of gold energy here, which is all about the mistrust and trust. Yeah. And then we have the positive 54, which is the number 9. So we have some Virgo and some Cancer energy. And some Cancer here as well. Okay. So something about the emotions coming through. Maybe we don't trust our own emotions here in some capacity. And the positive, this is the the blind oracle. Blind spot oracle. Yeah, and it's almost like there's all the positive, there's all abundance, there's everything that could possibly be successful that's at risk. Okay, or it gets thrown out. Okay, like it's always there, but we could block it. Okay, or we could like avoid it. We could put up barriers to it when we're trying to preserve self. And so we never experience the positive by our own doing. It's like self-fulfilling prophecy. Trying to get the positive, we sort of do all these things, but then we don't experience the positive because of all those things we're doing. Do you see what I'm saying? So the doer, the things it can do, is trying to manipulate energies so it can go in a certain way. And meanwhile, God just wants us to be in open state of flow, to give and receive energy so that we can experience the positive. Okay, now it doesn't mean good, bad. Positive is what? Positive charge, outward, expansive energy, masculine energy. It is that of giving and receiving, and flow state is positive. Okay, whereas the negative is contracting, it's taking and keeping. Okay, because the ego fears, so it must keep for itself. It doesn't want to give because then it feels like it might be without. Okay, and so there's this polarity that's coming through with this energy here, reddening. So something coming to life. We have another 15. I think this is the third time we're seeing this devilly energy come through. So heavy Capricorn. Okay, but it's a way of being, a way of thinking. We see the snake, which is all about healing, shedding the false self. We see the silver and gold. I'm really being drawn again, the silver gold energy, because gold is all about the coming through with this mistrust and trust. And gold could represent like the ideal state, right? But then there's this like perfectionist energy. And then silver might feel not good enough. And that's this insecurity that's coming through here. Okay. Alrighty. Here we have loneliness, 68 and 5. So 5 is the Hierophant and Temperance energy. Okay. So temperance, again, about this healing, this balance, this guidance, is this need for us to regulate something. Maybe it's our masculine or feminine. Maybe it's our confidence. It could be our own ability to take action, even though there might be a lack of trust, without being avoidance and held back, because now there's an imbalance here. Okay. So, but then Hierophant could talk about a way of being, and we have all this devilly energy. And I feel like the way of being is like this unhealthy sort of way that chains us to an old way of acting or a belief system here that keeps us held back. So entrepreneurial project, collaborative project, interdependency, physical challenge, social involvement, and family responsibilities. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. Yeah, definitely how we see ourselves. And also this blue is talking about the authentic expression, which was coming through with this one, which was the magician. Okay, it's all about communication and also about the manifestations, also about the mental activity, because it gets generated from within before it can be expressed and taken action upon. So if it's already defeated before it even becomes an action, meaning I already believe a certain untruth, I've already sort of forced the outcome in a different way here. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, so I have 68, 69, which is succession here. I got to rearrange these in a way that helps me to channel. Okay, so we have being original, number 4. So Emperor energy again coming through, Aries, and also Scorpio energy, which is this Pluto. Being original, rehashing the past. Okay, so we're in the future and we're in the past. My past experiences got me so bad, or I need to heal from it because now it's impacting how I engage now because I'm anticipating what might happen, that I don't want to experience. And so I'm avoiding it by happening it again, or doing it so it happens again. Envy, jealousy, comparison, living in lack, self-deluding, self-victimization. Type 4, the individual's emotional center between lack and abundance. Okay. And then we have the sun, which is really feeling this masculine energy, the 1 again. Okay. This is magician energy for me. Again, the mind, which is masculine, and then the doing. Okay, but sun is all about enlightenment, consciousness. It is about our joy. It is about self-empowerment. Wow, 2 hands. Okay, and then we have Mercury. Yes, all over your reading is this Mercury, okay? 21 and 3. So 3 is all about balance. That was that temperance. Oh, no, sorry, not about balance. I don't know why I said balance. 3 is about growth and relationships, okay? But it is Empress energy, which is about abundant love. Mercury is the ruling planet for Virgo, Gemini. And then we have Venus, which is the ruling planet for Taurus, Libra. Again, planet of love here. Maybe expressing or how we engage in relationship or how others see us is a big sort of driver here. Okay. And then we have Venus, Uranus, 34. And 7 again. So we have 7, and there was another 7 here somewhere. I don't know where, but 7s is Cancer, but that's about faith, wisdom, reflection, and understanding. It's also the Chariot, which is integration of the shadow. Okay, and it's the balance that I was trying to bring through here. Yeah, balance, so that we can have success. But it's through the Tower process, which is the deconstruction of the false self. So 4 and 3, yes, that's 7 energy. Okay, and then Venus coming through strong again, and Uranus, which is a ruling planet for Aquarius. Let me tap into this energy, okay? That was a lot. Okay, gorgeous angel. If this is not your energy, you could definitely be dealing with somebody like this, okay? That is a part of our journey somehow. It's providing you insight, a mirror to yourself in some capacity. This might plant seeds in your subconscious. This might give you revelation, confirmation. This could definitely be your energy. And so when there's things in our subconscious, it is very difficult for us to bring it to the surface in a way that we fully connect to. And sometimes when we go back to certain messages, they mean something different, So let's just allow ourselves to be open to this message, although don't force anything to fit, okay, at all. But I feel like some of these messages, if it is us, we might not see it in ourselves at all, okay? And I don't want to project it onto you, because if it's not you, it's not you. Okay, but there'll be a resonance here with some of this stuff, okay? And I'll try to differentiate what you're experiencing so you know why you're experiencing what you're experiencing based on the driver here that's creating this sort of, if we want to call it, this suffering of sorts, okay? Suffering is a strong word, but this is a state of suffering because it is not experiencing the full abundance. This person I'm connected to, let me get signs out of the way first. We have heavy Cancer and heavy Gemini coming through. And we also have Virgo and heavy Capricorn coming through. Okay. A little bit of Leo, a little bit of Sagittarius, and some Scorpio coming through. A little bit of Virgo and some Aries. I know that's a lot of signs, but that's what's coming through here. Okay. So it doesn't have to be your sun, moon, rising, or this person. It could definitely be prominent in this person's chart or the placements that's creating a lot of this in the birth chart. Okay. But it is more the energy in this reading that I'm sort of channeling here in order to communicate what's being pulled through here. This spiritual journey, okay, of this snapshot of where I'm at here, looking at this person's energy. There's a lack of self-confidence in this person, even if this person feels like, okay, I'm going to say this person just because it's easier, okay? Even if this person feels like that they are managing, their environment, or that they're able to mitigate certain things, okay? This is all an illusion, that we think we're a doer, that we're mitigating any sort of thing here. What is happening here is we're actually missing out. The universe is fully abundant, meaning there is no need for us to do anything, okay? Meaning, like, you don't need to go seeking out there, attaching to anything, manipulate energies, resist certain things, and do this in order for happiness to be manufactured, okay? That's an illusion that we create, that the ego likes to do. It likes to do this to be safe, okay? This energy that I'm reading here may have experienced disappointment in the past, or just through an experience of being has generated a belief that is devilly, that's holding this person back, that creates a lot of this sort of avoidance energy that doesn't allow this person to engage naturally, openly, and honestly. Now, this person might say, well, this is me naturally. I'm naturally shy, or I naturally pull away, or I naturally don't share, or I naturally held back, or I'm naturally in my own. No, you're not naturally any of those things. What we're doing is we're suppressing a part of ourself that we're not understanding. We're suppressing it, that we don't want it to come online. It's a part that we're shunning away. It's fragmented right now. It's the part that I think will disappoint myself, embarrass me, or do something in front of others that I don't want to see or do or experience. And so I'm always sort of anticipating how this might come across. And then I need to make sure that it doesn't come across any way that my ego doesn't want it to appear. And then I take action on it. But I'm very hesitant here. There's a lot of hesitation and trust of what might unfold by allowing myself to just experience and be, because I might be too cautious and afraid that I may lose control in that moment and do something that might make me feel embarrassed, or like I'm not good enough or incapable enough. And so there's this really strong belief that I'm lacking some sort of thing within myself, that you're not, by the way. And that because of this, I'd rather experience the result of me avoiding, or the result of me not acting, or the result of me not engaging, or the result of me not open to the blessing or the abundance in the opportunity. I would rather sort of avoid it, or deflect it, or not engage there, because it's better than being open to this possibility that I might be exposed to this disappointment of myself. I might say the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. So there's a lot of being stuck in one's head, overthinking. Okay, and I know all of us could be victim to this, so this could really be anyone. But I mean, really, this person is really thinking a lot before they say and do. They have a difficult time expressing themselves truthfully and honestly. And this person's also experienced sort of this energy like no one really maybe gets me, or I feel not understood, or I feel alone in a way here that people can't connect to or understand me. Okay, and so we're creating this distance, even though, of course, nobody would choose a button to be distance, so people don't understand me, so I could be sort of feeling on the outs. Nobody would choose this. But we are sort of choosing this by doing what? By not trusting the part of the self that wants to come online. The part of self that wants to come online, it wants to be expressed and it wants to do its thing. We're rejecting that part. It's like, no, I don't trust it when you come online that you're going to make me appear in the way that I think I need to appear. And now the thought of how we think we need to appear has been instilled in us by either someone or ourselves at one point in time. This is good and this is bad. This looks like success and this looks like failure. This is what a person in confidence looks like, and this is what a person who's weak looks like. So we carry those beliefs. None of those beliefs are actually true. It's all a figment of your own telling. You're the only one that carries these perceptions. You ask a million people, you get a million different answers. And so by my beliefs and my weights that I'm putting on myself, by disconnecting from a part of my true self, by the way, it's your true self, I'm disconnected from it. I'm not accepting, embracing it, or integrating this part of self. It's creating the suffering in my journey. It's creating the distance between me and people, maybe arguments. Maybe it's creating me not being able to connect to people or get into connection. And maybe it's creating where I feel like people are rejecting me, or they're denying the way I am. It's like, whoa, this is how I am. No one's approving of me like this. They're rejecting me. And it's like, well, why we're experiencing this is because we're rejecting ourselves. And so whatever's happening in the micro is going to be happening in the macro. So any experience out there that is displeasing, rest assured it's happening in the inside world. I am either doing it to myself in some way that I'm not seeing, and I'm denying reality. Reality is that I am all these things. Okay, good, bad, if you want to call it that, whatever. I'm shadow, I'm light. I'm all of me. And so this is kind of like when we're in a car crash or something and we have these broken bones, okay? Fragmented self, fragmented energy, wherever it happens. Either we have an experience where maybe we get super embarrassed, and it's like it impacts our confidence. And now it's like there's always this hesitation or something, or like just this one thought that comes online, and then it drives all of the action, this devilly thought that's untrue. And so those broken bones are like fragmented self, but it's still in the meat suit. The bone is still there. It's always there. So this energy doesn't go away. You have to integrate it. Now, you don't have to. You could sit all bone broken all you want, or fragmented. But then we experience the suffering, and we also experience whatever the reality is showing us as a result of those fragmented bones. I keep being lonely. I keep getting misunderstood. I keep hesitating. I keep delaying. I keep resisting and pushing out all the things that I could experience that I know that I want, because I do feel everyone wants to be loved and understood and accepted and approved. Okay, but if I don't accept and approve and love myself as I am, fully and completely, I cannot experience that in the outside world. I must embrace all of me, okay, the good and the bad, even if I think it's bad and it's not bad. And so this person is really trapped in this sort of planning out what I'm going to say, how it's going to go, how it's going to look. And so if anything sort of derails it or creates this anticipation that it might be not safe, then I don't do it. I don't do it, because I'd rather be safe than sorry. And what I'm hearing now is that song, Aha, Take On Me. Okay, and it's like rather be. Sometimes it's better to be sorry than safe. I don't think that's what they say, but it's like I'd rather take this chance. Like in the past, maybe I would rather be safe than sorry, but now it's like know that I've lived, and I'd rather just experience to be sorry than safe. That's exactly what I'm hearing here. Okay, and it's like I'd rather experience the embarrassment or the whatever. Okay, and this isn't saying that this person is going to get embarrassed. This person has to trust themselves to put themselves in an uncomfortable position. So it's actually weaker. It's like weaker for me to do this thing and avoid this thing. And I might think, no, it's actually stronger, because look at how much control I have. I don't say and I don't do. And I'm like, the ego thinks it has this sort of edge on reality. The ego wants to think it's a doer. Okay, and so there is this egoic identity that is creating safety in our world, but at the expense of this safe being, it's actually destructive to the full potential of connection and what we want. And so it's giving off this illusion as helping, and that's what the ego does. Now, the ego isn't evil. The ego is trying to protect us. It tries to protect us at whatever means. But the ego creates suffering because it thinks it knows what's good for us, but it's dealing with illusion. It's dealing with fears. It's dealing with mind story. The ego is just a mind activity. It's a story and a belief that's coming online here about myself that I am carrying. It is untrue. And so we're being on a journey of seeing this, because I do feel like there is some form with Venus, some form of situation that's bringing this out in this person that I'm reading. It could be a relationship, most likely, because relationships are the best mirror, where this person is being called to look at themselves from this sort of experience of what are you showing to the world? What's the outer you versus what's the inner you? And there's a disconnect here, because whatever they're showing to the world feels superficial in a way, feels surface, because it is manufactured and it is being manipulated and controlled in some way. So is it this person? Well, it's this person in ego, and this person thinks they're that identity, that they are in control and that they are creating this sort of image of themselves. It's like, yeah, I'm the one that's choosing this image, what comes online, what I say, what I do. So it's me, right? It's like, no, only the ego would think it's like it's independent self acting, independent of God, independent of the true self that's in there. Really, the subconscious has the wheel. It's driving these actions, and it's creating the sabotage. And it's all from a need of control and fear because of what happened in the past. But I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing the egoic surface self that thinks it has control, that thinks it's in control of confidence and how others see me, which is also a big fat illusion, because we are not in control of other people's perceptions. And so we might think that we're perceived in one way or giving off this energy. Meanwhile, everyone around us sees us completely different. And so as long as I go to bed thinking, yeah, and those people saw me this way, or that meant I had the confidence. Meanwhile, the only thing that's really happening here is people are still seeing us how they would, and we're missing out on something that's abundant, and we feel left out or misunderstood or not connected to, and we're suppressing, denying reality, because reality is that you're all these things, even the things that aren't wanting to come online. And so I feel like there's a lot of avoiding when it comes to putting this person sort of in flow state, like trusting themselves to have flow conversations, to speak their mind, to give a back and forth. And it could be in only certain situations, like in intimacy, but maybe they're normally used to just connecting. In other ways, it could be this person might be like this when it comes to the opposite sex only, like, I don't know what it is for this person. It could be just an intimate relationship. It could be a certain, when it comes to a certain part of themselves only that they avoid. It's very selective. Or it could be so dramatic that it's all around when it comes to me, just period, letting myself sort of just be. It doesn't matter like who or what. It's like I already suppressed this part of me, but there is a suppression here of a self that I don't trust to come online. And I will do whatever it takes here, including missing out, thinking that it's for the greater good until I'm ready. And then I come ready and it's like, yeah, but you already probably missed your opportunity, because the only thing that matters is the present moment. And so now when we show up, or now when we want to talk about it, or now when we're doing the thing, it's like we're reacting to the past. And so we're anticipating, looking in a certain way, and we're in our mind about it. So we're not present, fully in a flow state of giving and receiving. And then we go offline and we get in our mind about it. We review it. We think we have it under control. And then we create this, what I will do, what I will say, how it will go. And then we show up and now we're responding to that and still not in the present moment. So again, not in the present moment, living in the past, living in the future, because the present moment would require us to just trust and allow. But no, if I just trust and allow, wow, then there's this thing that's within me here that I haven't integrated. Okay, it's the self I haven't integrated, the thing I'm ashamed of, what I might say looking foolish. I don't know what we're really scared of here, okay? But I feel there's an insecurity and a trust in self. It's like we need to trust our own solid sort of state of being here. And maybe it could also be I don't trust my emotions, because there were a lot of sevens here, which was giving me Cancer energy. And so this type of person too could have a lot of indecision, could have a lot of like, I don't know, indecision, 7 cups, 2 swords. And what could come through here is maybe we got betrayed, we experienced an experience of betrayal. And so it's like, I'd rather just keep it simple, or I'd rather not experience that. And so I'm going to avoid anything that sort of looks like that or has the same flavor of that, whatever that experience was. And so a narrative for that could be, if let's just say this is an example, okay, like in whatever experience I had. Let's say it was a marriage or a relationship that was deep in some certain way where I had to trust that person and then I got betrayed. It's like, no, now it's like I'll just keep people sort of as a friend, or I just won't let the other shoe drop here. Like I can't develop that sort of trust. And so we think it's the other people here that are like untrustworthy, right? But as we know, the outside world is only a mirror of what's going on inside. And so if we cannot trust other, we're not trusting ourselves. And so reality is always happening as it does. There is no way that we can manufacture anything or even have any control. And so if there are untrustworthy people that show up, they're going to show up as a result of the divine putting this in front of you. And the divine would only do this if there was to be lessons understood and clearing so that we could change your energy and our vibration. When we're in a vibration of not bringing people who are untrustworthy around us, we won't experience this, or we've overcome this sort of lesson. But when we're always anticipating because of the past and we haven't healed it and now we're projecting it, all we're going to encounter is untrustworthy people or situations to be embarrassed by or whatever we're feeling here. And so we feel a lot of stress. Like, can I trust these people? You know, it's like if we feel this way, it's because we don't trust self. We say, no, I trust me. I'm not the one that cheated. I'm the one that, no. But what it's saying is, if you're expecting others to appear in a certain way out there, then we must heal the thing from within us that is distorted and seen through the lens of hurt. I can't trust. I can't be. It's fragmented still. Okay, we might not agree with that and still want to go out there and project because that's the way we're used to doing it. That's a big fat ego. There's nothing out there that's independent of you. Everything happening out there is a mirror of what's going on inside of you. And so we're needing to develop our trust in ourselves so that we can trust others and know that the universe is always going to put in front of you what it puts in front of you. There is no control in that. And so we might think we're an independent wave in the ocean. The ego does. It can control things. I'm the independent wave controlling this ocean. It's like, no, you're a wave, a part of the ocean, a part of the whole. And spirit knows how everything is interconnected, how everyone is interconnected. Okay, and so that ocean has this grander sort of unfolding. It'd be foolish to think we're a wave that can control any of this stuff and believe it. Only the ego would think that. The separate I, it's like standing in front of this like 20-foot wave and being like, hey, I got this, you know? No, you don't got it. So whatever is going to unfold is unfolding here. So either you're in cooperation with the universe in an open state of flowing and receiving, or in resistance, trying to avoid, suppress. I have aversion to this and I'm avoiding that. And this made me feel uncomfortable in that. And so we don't want to experience discomfort. Who would? But in order for us to integrate this fragmented self, we must sit with the discomfort. And if this means alone for a bit, then sit with that discomfort. But first, we must acknowledge that it isn't out there. Out there is not going to bring the healing. Out there is not going to bring the person then that I can trust. Now I have a trusting person. Now I have someone that understands me. Now I can heal this thing. No, it's opposite of that. It's I must heal this thing. I must integrate this thing. Now all I see out there are people I trust. Now I'm understood. Now I'm seen. Now I with this confidence, now I can engage confidently. The situations are always going to be those situations. There's always situations that I can either see as they're going to feel unsafe, you know? There's always situations that will feel this way. And so it's like, I must mitigate how it is that I'm feeling in some way here of sitting with that energy. Maybe mitigate's the wrong word. I must sit with this energy and this belief that I have before I start to see out there that it isn't a threat. So right now, there's a high perception of threat out there, you know, but it's generated from an inner world that feels threatened. And it's only threatened because it's integrated that part of the self. And once that self sort of is welcomed, like, hey, self, I know sometimes you might say things that might not appear to be the wisest. Okay, but when we are truly authentic, it's not about like what looks perfect, you know? It never is. It's about when we connect to that authenticity, it's connected to by others because it's seen as true. And so when we connect to true, there is no sort of failure, you know, there is no illusion there. There is no like embarrassment there. There's just what's true. What's true is what's true. We cannot deny or suppress or change what's true. We could try with dancing around it, creating sock puppets, diverting it, avoiding it, resisting it, and create suffering, and then keep experiencing this sort of illusion. Or we could say, this is what the truth is. And then when we sit in the truth, there's something about sitting in this truth that's like feels very strong and confident. This is this inner security. Nothing feels more secure than the truth, And so I think there's a misbelief right now that something that we are is actually weak, or it looks funny, or its image is not how we want it, because we have a belief that the other way of being is actually stronger or better or more desirable. That's a belief. We need to undo that belief, because it's driving your decisions. This person is deciding, will this make me look strong? Is this in the good? Is this in the confident? Or is this make me look weak, or make me look foolish, or make me, and then I don't do it. Meanwhile, again, like I said, it's a misbelief here. There is no foolish and weak and all of that stuff that we believe. And it could be as simple as, if I'm strong, I don't talk about my feelings. That's a misbelief, no matter how we slice it and dice it. And so we're hanging on to a misbelief, and then we start to act as if that is true. And then the ego does all things to avoid not talking about feeling, to do everything except for talk about feeling, because my strong belief is that when I do that, it's going to be disastrous or a failure, or it's going to make me appear in a certain way that I don't want to be. It's like, well, we can't refuse the truth. We can't refuse what we are. We are all of ourselves, even the parts that we don't want to believe or see. Okay, now does this mean we can never change? No, this means that we can see through the illusion. And the illusion is that we have to be manufactured in a certain way, or configured by society in a certain way, or that people are going to tell us how to be. The truth is that I am perfect, because God makes no mistake. However I am is perfect. There is no need for me to hide, suppress, deny, or be anything other than that which is the truth, even if that makes me feel uncomfortable because I've been conditioned to believe otherwise. This will take time to undo this belief. This is creating a lot of avoidance in this person's world of beautiful things that they can experience, beautiful relationships, beautiful situations, beautiful sharing of moments, because this person is second guessing their action based on these belief thoughts that are not true, that are sort of self-defeating. But we're on the spiritual journey of shedding this, and I feel this person's breaking out of this because something's bringing this person online. The true version of this person's coming online. And right now they're sort of stuck between the ego and the shadow self, shedding the false self, feeling second to, okay, even if this person on the outside might seem like they think they're confident or that they have this confidence. Like I said, the confidence is fake confidence, because it's saying, I get confident every time I feel I can control the situation. It's like, it's a false confidence. It's an illusion of control. You're the wave. And we're still going to feel like we're silver. Gold is knowing that I am truly acting from the purest essence of who I am without rejecting any part of me. Okay, and so I feel like there's this negative self-speak, and then there's the self-victimization, because then the result of what we experience here we don't like. I still feel not understood. I still feel like I don't have that, relationship flowing, or I still feel alone, or I still feel challenged. That's like, yes, you will. So we must integrate all parts of ourselves and accept that we are exactly as we are here. We have the veil of ignorance here. And so we choose the easy, or we choose the thing here that's like, feels like it's safer, but it's really just protecting this shadow from coming out, and it keeps perpetuating this suffering, or this lack experience, because there is no lack in the universe, but we can certainly experience lack for sure. If I believe in this lack mindset, then I'm going to keep perpetuating lack, but abundance exists. I just need to fully integrate myself as a whole being here. Although we are already whole, so it's just the illusion that we're not, but we need to see through that illusion. We need to work through that ego self, and that one that's trying to mitigate situations and plan and get in our own mind. It's like, it's so heavy, that takes a lot of work. the wave trying to control the ocean. That's a lot of tap dancing rather than, hey, ocean, take me where you're going. I trust this, you know? So we need to trust in the divine, that the divine has the greater good in mind of the ocean and all, and including myself, even if that means I might have challenging experiences. It has nothing to do with a reflection of me, but an integration of an experience I'm having because it's being bestowed upon me by the divine for me to experience this lesson. Thank you, Lord. And I could develop my self-confidence through this, you know? And once we learn this thing, it's like you're fully integrated. We don't got to do it again. And those experiences of like second guessing and all this stuff is like, it goes away. I've developed my self-confidence. It's strong. It's unwavering. This person is developing a strong sense of self-confidence through this experience. Now, this might be taking some time, and this might be very challenging, and this might go back and forth between the lack of self-confidence and then the confidence. And then having moments where they could kind of be themselves and see this and see that everything was okay, you know? It's like, yeah. But then the false self or the habitual self comes online here and creates a sabotage. Okay. And then it's like, whoa, okay, but I'd rather avoid and I'd rather not experience the thing that I'm really trying to protect here. And it's like choosing the best of two evils, you know? Meanwhile, it's like, no, we don't need to experience any suffering here. We don't. So let's pull the tarot and see what Spirit wants to communicate about pile number 1. Spirit, for pile 1, anything I've missed? I'm feeling really cold. And my hands are getting very clammy here. So let's see. Spirit, what's going on with... Yeah, and I'm also getting like... The shadow's definitely taking action, okay? The subconscious... Because the fear is louder and the fragmented self is like so... It's almost like freeze mode. This is what it feels like, freeze, you know, fight, flight, or freeze. It's like freeze mode is what comes online. And then I take action. And only when I'm really confident do I take action. And then there's like this gap in between, whereas like the real presence, being in the present moment, the true self. And so the only person that's taking action or coming online is the ego self, driven from the shadow fragmented self. But the only thing that's not online is the authentic self, being original in the present moment, whatever self comes out, because we are not one specific identity. In the present moment, we don't know how we will be. Now, if we're an ego, we'll know how we'll be because it's very manufactured and it's like the me that I created. It's like, no, you don't need to create your you. God already created the you that you are. The you that you're trying to manipulate here is the egoic self that's really driven from fear and fragmentation and suppression and avoidance and I was going to say neglect, but it's almost like this other self I don't want to identify with. You can't refuse any part of self. We have to embrace all of self. So what does Spirit want to talk about for pile 1 here? Clear and concise message. Pile 1, spiritual journey. What's going on with their spiritual journey here? Even this taking on responsibilities. It's like this person might be so selective that they're really like things that could be blessings. It's like, I will pass those up and play small. This person is playing small, you know, like completely playing small in their world. Not taking chances, avoiding things, telling themselves they're not good enough, can't succeed. Okay, now, are they consciously telling themselves this? No, I think their actions are telling them this. Their actions and their environment is telling them this. So if their environment looks very limited, that's how they'll know. And they feel alone or whatever. And it's like, no, but I never told myself that I wasn't good enough. It's like, no, but what are your beliefs telling you? Because your beliefs are driving this action. Your lack of belief in self. And so we take less responsibility on or action because it's like, well, I won't succeed at anyway, or it's too much and I might fail. I might not be good at it, or it might not be perfect, or this idea of how I think it has to be. It's like, no, those are just beliefs and ideas. They're not true. They're driving your actions. And then we're not experiencing what we're being called to experience, which is blessing. It's made for us. We're just prolonging it. We're fighting it, we're resisting it, we're going around it. And Spirit is saying, no, you're going to experience this one way or another. Once we finally learn to surrender and accept and integrate all of self, Star, healing, Aquarius, Queen of Pentacles in reverse. which is Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, 5 swords. That's sort of this energy here, you know, feeling lonely, not connected to, a reality denial. It's like when we're denying reality, we're at conflict with people and things. It's like, it's this energy too, because it's like, I will win at all costs. And what is winning? It's like the winning at all costs is to protect this part of me from not coming out. Everything I must do to protect that part of me not coming out, so I won't be embarrassed, or so my image stays maintained with the ego. The ego's doing this, you know? The ego wants to maintain and regulate this image that comes out of me, and it will do everything, including arguing with people, sabotaging, missing out, as long as this thing is protected and it doesn't come out. We're being called to heal this thing. Okay? And so I feel like there, with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, this could talk about a codependency or some sort of, we don't trust ourselves, you know? I don't know, we're relying on someone to provide us with some form of security or something. So yeah, this could also be like, it's impacting our decisions in our everyday, because the world we create around us and the people that are in our life right now, we believe are the provider of something we need. Meanwhile, we need to generate it from within, or we can generate it from within. It is within, but we're suppressing it and we're outsourcing it. And so I must stay here because this is giving me my security, or my, like providing the security. We're outsourcing it. I can't find that within myself. So how would I do this? I don't know how. It's like, well, what do you mean? You don't trust yourself. And I don't know if someone's made you believe that you're incapable of that. So it could apply in so many different things, you know? It's like, I wouldn't be successful in the world, or be able to secure myself in the world, or make something of myself in the world, or be relied upon to provide for myself financially, or stability wise, or security wise, or a roof over my head. And I don't know, maybe someone's like, yeah, without me, you'd be nothing, you know? I don't know who that parent is, or every time you try something, you fail. So someone must always take care of you, or that's always been your experience. Someone's always taken care of me, you know? Or we might say, because I feel like it's us that feels like we're lacking some sort of ability, that we're outsourcing, that we're actually not lacking. And I feel like there's a desire here and a hope, or some vision of some future thing we want. And it's just a dream. I'll just pray for it. You know, one day it'll come to me that I will be all set. It's like, no, it's not going to come to you. You're going to have to generate that. You're the magician of this. You're going to be source, meaning God doesn't bring it to you in a way here that's then going to answer and heal this thing. The divine's going to come through you to heal this thing. And then you're going to magnetize it towards you. But you must see it within yourself first before it comes to you. And so I feel like we're sort of looking out to the distance of hoping and praying that someday this thing will heal itself, or I will find this thing out there and outsource. It's like, no, it will turn within and see that it is already there within you, and you're not needing to outsource nothing. Okay? Like, first get rid of that belief. And it's okay to be wobbly about it, you know, because we're standing on legs we never stood on before. And it's like, oh, but what if I do fail? What if it is just a thing? And it's like, yeah, but that's a belief again. That's the ego online. That's saying I don't trust in the divine. I don't trust in my divine nature to provide. Okay? So let's see. Why is the star here? This person's spiritual journey. The moon in reverse. Wow, the star, the moon. So fear is holding me back. And also this indecision, this lack of certainty and clarity in my decisions are holding me back from the future I want. Okay, but I do feel this person, like I said, is coming out of this. Because I feel this person has been put in front of some opportunity, some dream, some vision that's giving them the energy to push through this untruth, to integrate this part of self that has been suppressed, this part that they feared seeing and looking at, and they denied reality, because reality is, this is all of them, the good and the bad, you know, all of them. It needs to be welcomed, seen, accepted, and worked through. But it's like, no, I'd rather avoid it. I'd rather not see it. I'd rather pretend and tiptoe around it and tell myself I'm not, and it won't be, and all of this stuff. But now the desire to aim somewhere is greater. Okay, so this is driving this person for change. So why is this Queen of Pentacles here? I think these just flipped around. Oh, that was weird. Here it is, Page of Cups. I feel this is separate, but I felt that was weird how that flipped. Okay, so Page of Cups. What is that? That's the innocence. That's like early stage, you know? Like a page is still a novice, still learning. It's like when we're in this stage, it's like we could second guess a lot of it, you know, because it's like anyone who knows more can say something like, whoa, maybe I don't know, you know? But it's like, no, trust that you have this beautiful innocence about you that is very unique and different than anyone could ever sort of manufacture. Trust in that, you know? It's just like when someone starts a new job and it's like, whoa, this new person, like they think they know what they are doing, but they come with the whole new sort of eyes and new perspective, or there's a lot of positive that this new employee can also bring to the table, you know, new insights. And I feel like with this Aquarius too, and this being original, like whatever this thing is, this big dream of yours, you know, because I feel like there's a big dream of yours that you want to do or believe in yourself about, that you've always been challenged or told yourself you couldn't. It's like, no, this is you, man. You know, you're very original to do this thing. This is meant for you, this thing. And so this spiritual journey, I feel, is putting in front of you this thing that is really driving this change and you overcoming this part of self, this self-doubt and this lack of belief in self. And, you know, that I must, I don't know, stick to the pentacle realm, or this thing that provides me this comfort right now seems very real in the 3D world. This job, this person could be a feminine here with the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. That's weird that I just flipped them that way. 10 of Wands in reverse and Ace of Wands. And the Tower. And under that's 10 Pentacle. Wow, 10s, 10. 10s are completions, ends a cycle. Tower is the falling away of something that can no longer stand there because it wasn't built on anything solid. Surrender. Okay, beautiful energy here. Okay, why is it beautiful? It's scary because Tower is not an easy process. It's discombobulating in some way, but it's like a release of what can't stand anymore. I think we had a dependency on something we built or some world that might give the appearance of structure and stability in the matrix world that we're trading off, that we have been trading off. And why it's like shaky like a tower, even though it's like, well, it seems solid. That's an illusion. It's an illusion because it's a trade-off. And Spirit knows that we can't avoid or suppress or exclude a part of ourself in order to accommodate another. When we're aligned completely and wholly, everything's aligned. We don't sacrifice a part of self in order to gain a different part of self and play God in this way. And so I feel like the falling away of what doesn't align with you is being shown to you so that you can surrender and say, Divine, my aim right now is towards the thing that I am being called towards. I might not know exactly how it's going to align, or I might not have the confidence that I could do it today because I haven't experienced it, but my heart is open and I trust that this is for me and that this new beginning will only happen when I truly surrender and lay it on you, like lay it on the feet of God here. Like I, of myself, I do nothing. I am the wave. Ocean, take me. Okay, and you will be shown and you will be taken there. But when we get in the way of resistance, sabotage, trying to manufacture how this happens, and then believe the story of the Matrix, that there's only this Matrix world and these certain things that only I can rely on and that is a part of why I'm secure in here. It's like, no, you're just believing this one sort of outlet of story. And it may be an aspect of truth, but that all things are abundant, that there is an inner security that I have that I haven't tapped into yet, that I need to cultivate and see that it's in there. But I've been suppressing it, thinking it doesn't exist, saying I don't have it, it's not within me. And then I create that reality. And all it's been doing is creating challenge for a reason. Spirit's saying you're creating challenge for a reason here, because without the challenge, you wouldn't be called to let go of the false so that you could build something that is sustainable. So we're dropping away what isn't sustainable, me outsourcing, me thinking other people are going to do this or that, and looking out there. It's like, no, what's sustainable is cultivating from within. Once I surrender, so that I can develop something that will stand the test of time through authenticity and truth, and a full integrated self, not a fragmented self, not a false thing that's going to just need a whole bunch of maintenance and me to pretend and tiptoe around and me create and uphold an illusion. That's not me. It's exhausting and it's tiring, and it's at a sacrifice, at a price. And I feel like the price you're paying is this beautiful positive thing that you're able to experience here. Okay, but we must say, I surrender to the discomfort. I no longer want to avoid, even if this means I'm a novice, even if this means the things I was telling myself in the past that I didn't want to experience or see because it would make me appear in a certain way. That was just a belief that I was telling myself that was holding me back. It is not true. I let this go for the greater good here. Okay, so beautiful angel, this is your reading. I hope this helped you. It was a long one, and I will see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye. Hello, gorgeous angel. Pile number 2. You guys picked the lapis lazuli kitty cat. Cutie patooties. Let's take a look at your reading, shall we? So we're looking at your spiritual journey and what you're needing to know or see about this journey at this time. Okay, now, like I mentioned in the intro, we could definitely be experiencing a journey here with a mirror, and a mirror would mean we are experiencing either a relationship, a situation that is showing us certain parts of self. Okay, without this mirror, we wouldn't understand ourselves. And so we could certainly be tapped into the situation, people around us. Okay, but it's presenting you with information for your journey. So you don't have to listen to anything that's not for you or that you're not ready or prepared to hear. Okay, but to keep an open mind, that this doesn't have to be your energy. This is talking about your spiritual journey. Okay, but if it does come through as your energy, I will read it as such. Okay, but please keep an open mind. And like I mentioned, I will put sort of a trigger warning here because healing isn't always easy, you know. So you can skip ahead if you want, but I do suggest you sit through the card layout if you're developing your intuition. We're asking Spirit for a clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. Spirit, what are they needing to know about their spiritual journey at this time? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile number 2. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Thank you so much, pile 2, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed to be here doing this reading. What is going on with pile 2's spiritual journey at this time? What are they needing to know for the greatest and highest good? Please protect pile 2 throughout this journey. Wow, got a bit of those. Clear and concise message for pile 2. We have failure, avoidance, 21. I do feel one more. So the solar plexus with the yellow. Pile 2's spiritual journey. What are we needing to know? Okay, and then we have 2 more. Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2, their journey, and 1 more. What is going on with pile 2's spiritual journey? What are they needing to know right here, right now, Spirit? 1 more. Okay, I will move these out of my way so I can move my hands freely. Okay, let's take a look. We have Chiron with Uranus. 56, number 11. So 11 is a master number, divine inspiration, synchronicity, the encouragement to keep going. Chiron is the wounded healer. So it's like 9 wands energy, okay? It's like the spiritual warrior who's been through battle. It's like then we can sort of use our experience to heal others through a process of healing. Okay, the Uranus is like tower energy, it's judgment energy. It's the great awakener with Uranus, so that's Aquarius energy here. And then we have winter. This is 16. So 16 is this tower energy again. Feeling strong tower, but winter is like frozen. I'm seeing the rune of Isa, which I do believe is ice, something stuck or frozen. Okay, and then we have Quicksilver. Wow, so it's kind of opposite of winter because Quicksilver is kind of like this Mercury energy. And Mercury has a way of sort of being like a shapeshifter in some sort of way. So I'm getting heavy like magician energy with the Mercury, but that would be Virgo, Gemini. Okay, so the mind. So 24 or the number 6. So Gemini coming through and Capricorn. So we have failure here that showed itself 21 and 3. Self-doubting people. Self-doubting people. Deficiency, losing, defeat, bankruptcy, and lagging people. Avoidance, ego level 21. Type 3 is achiever, emotional center between appearance and authenticity. Lagging people. Weird. Okay. Then we have more yellow here with the solar plexus as peacemaking. So I'm getting some Libra energy here. 108 and 9. So some Virgo, some Gemini, or Virgo, Cancer. Return to the world. Ecological initiatives, discussion circles, peace programs, spiritual retreats, meditation projects, and psychological support. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. Okay. And then we have leading ethically, 53 and 8. So 8 is the number of movement, change, attainment. It is the strength in the tarot, which is my ego card here, okay? But it is Leo Aquarius energy. It says thinking and analyzing. So that's this Mercury energy working together. That's this peacemaker discussion circles and all this. Okay, common good, emotional needs, interdependency, welcoming vulnerability. Type 8, the challenger, instinctive center between strength and weakness. Okay, so these are pretty closely working together here. Okay, and then we have obsession. Release the chains of thought and free your mind. It's Mercury energy. So it says fixation, compulsion, and preoccupation. Devil energy, Capricorn energy coming through. Temporality, 61 or 7. So are we doing things sort of in the immediate, but for the long term, we're sort of not getting anywhere and feeling stuck. That's kind of what it feels like. Okay, 7's Cancer energy. That's this tower energy I was feeling too. Okay, so 48 is scarcity. So scarcity would mean that there is lack. It's the illusion of lack, that I am without. Okay, 48 or 12, which is Pisces energy. That's this 3 as well. So 3 is Taurus and Libra energy, Venus. So that's Venus is all the planet of image, which is a lot of the solar plexus energy. Maybe we're really concerned about others, appeasing others in the short term here, but then feeling without in some way. Okay, and then we have negative reinforcement pattern, 36. So that's that devilly energy and this belief system that we have. Okay, so 36 or the number 9. And then we have not seeing the signs, 55. Wow. Okay. Not seeing the signs. So our intuition is being blocked somehow here. So 55 is the master number. Change is the only constant, divinely orchestrated change. And look at the winter would be stuck in something, you know, not allowing the change to happen. Leading ethically. you might be letting the Hierophant get in the way of change and growth. Okay, so we have break 45 and 9. So 2 nines, 99 is a master number, being the change you wish to see in helping humanity release what no longer works. So release from what? From the negative reinforcement patterns. We need to break the chains in order to have movement. I feel there's a step 4 pentacle type energy here. So break, step back, time out, silence, pause, reflection, and interruption. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. More solar plexus energy, lots of egoic beliefs based on our image, our identity, that's creating some sort of thing here that we think we need to upkeep, but it's actually creating the suffering. And it's based in the scarcity mindset that we're perpetuating in some way here, okay? All right, so yeah, loneliness here. And it says 77, which is a master number. Trust the fall, an adventure that arises from deep wisdom, trust of life, and trust of self. And in the loneliness, it says withdrawal, dropout, isolation, exile, solitude, and abandonment. And then here's the Hierophant energy, okay, with the 5. So blue's talking about the authentic expression. Hierophant can talk about our way of life, what we've been conditioned or programmed to think and do. So now we have a belief of what is right and what is wrong. Okay. And then temperance energy, which is all about this integration and this ability to heal and be balanced. But we might be sacrificing our authentic self in order to upkeep something over here. Okay. So interesting. And then we have uniqueness 4. So that's Aries energy and Scorpio. It says compulsion, ideal, ego level, uniqueness, feeling different, authenticity, sensitivity, singularity, eccentricity, taste for aesthetics. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. Okay. And then we have loneliness. Oh my goodness, you guys, look at these 2 decks. These are such synchronistic readings, 2 different decks, and these decks are huge. So for us to get the same cards here is obviously showing some sort of synchronicity. Okay, loneliness here, though, it says entrepreneurial project, collaborative project, interdependency, physical challenge, social involvement, family responsibilities. This is the Hierophant energy I was talking about. Okay, so 55 and 55. You guys might be saying 5555, 4 5s. Look that up as an angel number if you want to comment that. That will help me to sort of understand certain things here when I'm channeling. But yeah, 55 is a master number. Change is the only constant. Divinely orchestrated change, which we saw here. I'm seeing here. The Tower, certainly change. Okay, but we have 55, then we have 56, which is succession. Breaking out of something here. Okay, so let me channel what this is about, okay? Okay, beautiful people. I do have a little bit of questions here, but there are some things that are very clear that are coming through here, okay? And I do repeat myself. I apologize for those of you guys who are actually listening. But I do want to say that if this is not your energy, this could still be your journey. It could be a situation, a person you're dealing with, something coming through in your journey here, okay? Take only what resonates. If it doesn't resonate, not making any sense at all, then just don't take the message. Go look at another pile, okay? Don't listen to one pile and be like, nope, didn't resonate. Meanwhile, there's 2 other piles that might resonate for you. I don't know whose energy this is. I will read it however I channel it. I most likely will read it like your energy, okay? But I don't know if it is, okay? I want to get the signs sort of out of the way here. This could be prominent in the birth chart of you or who you're dealing with here. Okay, could be sun, moon, rising. Could be, like I say, just prominent in the birth chart, but it gives me the energy of this reading so I know how to read it. We have Taurus, Libra, Virgo, and Cancer, Capricorn, and Aries, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and Sagittarius energy pulling through. Okay. So when there is something that was kind of coming through a lot, like there's a lot of sort of repeat numbers and synchronicities, and especially we have to acknowledge this is not seeing the signs. I feel like whoever this is has been given a lot of signs, symbols, synchronicities, most likely probably numbers, but doesn't have to be. It could be seeing repeat names. It could be dreams, something that's coming through here. And this person, whoever I'm channeling here, might be chalking it up to logic in some way, or still not sort of aligned with that in which it's showing. Okay, that in which it's showing. I'm saying spirit, the divine nature, is calling this person to wake up to something grander. And this is how spirit talks through the universe, through showing us numbers, synchronicities, certain signs, symbols, whatever it is. And it uses people, places, things to wake us up and shake us up so that we could get out of slumps and grow spiritually. This person's being called to grow spiritually because I feel this person is stuck in some sort of situation that isn't allowing this person to grow. Why do we need to grow? Don't I have free will to stay where I want? Well, first of all, the ego, okay, which is the identity, thinks it's the self, and it's going to start making decisions for us that aren't in line with the greatest good. God knows greatest good. We don't, and we couldn't possibly know the greatest good. How many times have we sort of tried to make a decision for ourselves, thinking it was best for us, and it ended up being the worst thing ever? Thinking we wanted something, and then we got it, and it was like, no. We don't know what's good for us when we're using the ego, because the ego is an identity created out of experience. So we create this imposter, that tries to protect itself, even if it shoots itself in the foot, and it might avoid very good things. And so it comes from a place of scarcity. There's no ego online that isn't acting from a place of scarcity. The ego is the veil of forgetting. When we're born, we do not know or remember any of our energy in our past life. It's like this for a reason, okay? Even if you're not believing in, let's say, past lives and reincarnation so much as we are, even though there's lots and lots of evidence and science proving as such, we know scientifically energy does not die, okay? Cannot get rid of energy, cannot be created or destroyed. So what does this mean? Your energy has a past vibration. Energy is that of vibration. And this energy vibration, when it's introduced with a veil, it could start to distort itself, okay? And so our own experience is our own veil. Nobody can look through that veil but us. It is the own veil of our creation. That is an ego. And so we're born into the world thinking we're separate. Everyone has this, okay? And then everything sort of reinforces the separation from society, from our parents. They give us a name. Make something of yourself, kid. You must do this and you must do that. So it's no me against the world. Me, independent little I. Okay? Even at birth, we're sort of come out of the womb and we're feeling like sort of abandoned here, from our safe place. And from that point on, it's like it's me against the world. I'm separate. It's the illusion of the ego. And then we create all these identities in different places. I'm this worker. I'm this father. I'm this whatever. And I upkeep that identity thinking that's me. That is not me. That is the version of me that I've created. And so now I have this veil of how I interact with the world. And the minute I believe in separation, which is an illusion, by the way, because we're all divine source. We all come from the divine source. Okay, one state of consciousness, one source of power. And then anything that is sort of created here on Earth in the 3D, it's created, will be destroyed. It will be destroyed. Why? Because anything that's created or birthed doesn't last forever. Okay? It's finite, meaning it has a beginning and it must have an end. Even if it's years and years from now, it doesn't matter. It's finite. It begins and it ends. Anything beginning and ending is sort of temporary. Temporary. 3D. Body is temporary. We are not the body. Experiences, temporary. Okay? Manifestations that come and go are temporary. But solid truths have no beginning and no end, like the divine light. And so there's a divine truth behind this sort of temporary beginning and end that keeps beginning and ending. Manifestation of the 3D. What's higher than the 3D? 5D. Great truths, spiritual truths. Okay, now does this mean the 3D isn't happening? Sure, the 3D is happening. Okay, but it's manifesting and then it's disappearing. And this is why we call it sort of a dream or an illusion. It's like manifesting into reality, out of reality, into reality. So it's not really a great truth. What transcends that is that in which you cannot destroy. That it has no beginning and no end. Okay, and so there's a belief in scarcity. The minute we believe we're separate, we believe we're missing something. And it just gets compounded and compounded as we keep going on and on and on. We are missing something, missing something. And when we feel we're missing something, the ego then tries to seek what it needs because it's missing something. So there's lack. It doesn't feel like it's whole, and it will search for what it is that it feels it's missing. And it will create attachments to outcome. I must get this car. I must get this house. I must get this person, this guy, this girl, this job, this thing. This is the thing that will bring me wholeness and completeness. Okay? And then we don't get it and we get upset, or the ego gets frustrated, and we have anger, and we have resentment, and we have anticipation and anxiety, and all of this negative, more negative energy. Okay, now I'm not saying right and wrong. I'm saying energy. So there's positive energy and then there's negative energy. It's just like science, okay? Battery, polarity, negative and positive charge. So positive is outward and negative is inward. Okay, and so when we are taking and keeping, the ego must find, seek, take, and keep, because the ego thinks it's lacking. I cannot let go of that thing in which I have, because if I let go, I'm going to be missing out. That's an egoic belief in scarcity. There is no missing out. There is just abundance. But when we're in the mindset of scarcity, we start to act as if there's limited supply. Okay, so we're acting as if there's a limited supply over here. Okay, so that is very deep, but that's not where we're going here with this thing. We're talking about this person's situation. I feel like this person is in a situation here that's set up with either a community, a family, something that this person's sort of martyring themselves to in some capacity, okay, in order to keep the greater peace. And there's really a belief that I think this person is been shown over time. Now, this could have proven itself to be true, and we have experience. Now, when I say true, it's not capital T, but true to them. So there's our own relative truths. This is what I experience in my 50 years. So it's true. It's like, yeah, but it's true to you. But you can have someone else in their 50 years and this never experienced with them, and them have a complete other truth. That's why there's only one divine truth, and everything else is sort of relative truths. This person might have experienced a truth of their own in which they believe to be a way that they're having to be. Okay, and so this identity that they've created, one, they think that they are it because they've already created it, what they're not. Okay, like I said, how it got developed and why it got developed, so that we know the root of how it got created. And this person will perpetuate that identity because, one, they're attached to it. They think that's it. Two, they think there's a scarcity. So if I let go of this version of who I'm actually not, then there's a lot of fear around this. And so I perpetuate that in which I'm experiencing here, which I feel is, it's lack for sure. Even though lack doesn't exist, we can certainly experience lack because my mindset believes it so much that there is good and bad, and I can create this appearance of lack and this appearance that I'm without, and then believe it to be true, and that will be my experience. And I could keep living in that lack mindset and that scarcity mindset. Okay, and so I feel like we're doing something for the immediate because we're really in the weeds of the 3D, not rising above thinking, hey, I have one life to live. And my one life, okay, here on earth, obviously, is this manifestation of this body. But if I knew that I was the eternal self, not the body, my decisions would be completely different. And so this person's decisions are very based on what they're experiencing as the body. Because there's a lot of, I can't disappoint, I'm being called to do this because they told me so, or this is my belief, or they told me at one point, and so now I believe that is absolutely how I have to be and why I got to do it for the greater good. But here I feel stuck. And then I feel like I am, however this person is feeling, okay? It doesn't feel good and it feels stuck here. And with loneliness coming out here, it's almost like this martyring energy almost, because it's like I experience this loneliness now. And then there's some belief here that is sort of projecting that at some point in time, this loneliness might fall away, as long as I do the good thing. But it's like, no, we got to undo the belief here that's underlying this feeling of loneliness for it to go away. Otherwise, we'll end up an old man dead, and we never got rid of the loneliness. The fulfillment isn't going to come, and then we feel fulfilled. We must feel fulfilled, and then the fulfillment comes. Play that backwards or slowly. And so I feel like there is this settling on something here. Now, I don't know necessarily, because this is coming through as something. There might be a hyper-dependent, independent self here. That might not know how to work with other. Okay, and so what this could look like is like for the greater good of like collective, not through the Hierophant, but from the divine nature. I refuse to sort of cooperate with other. And it's not like a flat out refusal, but it's like coming from a place of scarcity. Then I'll be without, And so I don't know which one is online here, but I feel like either way, this person is being called to balance out what does a healthy working with other look like without attaching and being stuck. Because I feel one thing is for certain, what this person is experiencing is stagnation and loneliness from being stagnant and not allowing themselves to get to a flow state, whether this is inviting them to work with other and create like a collaborative environment, a healthy environment, without feeling like I'm giving something up of myself, because that's scarcity, or I feel like I'm coerced into having to do something for the greater good, and I feel lonely here because I'm sacrificing a part of myself that has another need here that's not being met. So this person's journey is all about a revelation that's coming through to tear down the foundation of the belief of this person, so that this person can heal this scarcity mindset, this belief that they must stay put, or that what they have been doing has been for the greater good. Because I do feel like this person thinks whatever they are doing is for a greater good. Because it's like, if I do this other thing, either detach from the community or from this thing that I have a responsibility to, then I'm like, I've let them down, or that I don't know how to do this thing. So this is where I must be, says who, or I cannot do the greater good for the collective here because I have some untruth belief about self, and that I'd have to let go of some sort of thing or do something here because I'm seeing it as I'd have to trade something off. So it's scarcity. So I'm temporarily sort of doing the immediate thing here over and over and over again. But all I'm doing is perpetuating the loneliness, perpetuating me feeling like I'm not succeeding in whatever it is that I'm being called to do, because the spirit is calling this person to wake them up and shake them up. They're not doing it. They're doing the thing that they've always been doing, trying to convince themselves why they need to do that or stay there, or I don't know, avoid the thing. Maybe it's like, I'm the only one that can do this. Or it could be like, whatever the story is here, I feel it's running through the mind as a truth, supporting this lack of movement or this lack of growth. But the more this person sort of supports this with a belief that's untrue, nothing's going to change. This person has to undo that belief. And I also feel like it creates this coldness in this person's world. Removed and feeling not connected to. And so there is this authentic self that is not being connected to and expressed, and letting it come online because it might contradict the thing that I'm supporting here. And like I said, I don't know the thing that this person is supporting. It's either I got to stay here for the greater good of all. So now I'm ignoring my authentic expression, which is telling me that there's something that's going to make my heart happy or warmth or more aligned with my truth. so I'm just pretending it doesn't exist, or I am staying put in a sort of island onto myself and not allowing myself to work in sort of a community type thing here because of this belief that I have. And so I'm still suppressing this authentic self that wants to connect and wants to be understood because the fear is too great, or undoing this belief. I feel like this person is feeling very very I don't want to use the word fragile, but it's almost like fracture in a way here, because it's rigid is what it feels like. And so it's like if I do something, it feels like it might break or snap. And they're being asked to be more flexible, that there is more fluidity in making choices and decisions, but it's almost like, I don't know if this person sees things sort of in black and white or something like this, or it's like truth is somewhere sort of lying in the middle here, or at least there needs to be some sort of thawing, which is a process, this quicksilver, which is sort of a fluid process. It's not like a one and done or turn the switch on sort of thing. And maybe this person feels like, because I was getting some sort of tower energy pulling through here, it's like this tower is like, there's a projection that the tower, which by the way is always a good thing, because towers represent falling away of what's not true, what can't sustain itself, it falls away. And so when we support the untruth, or the thing that can't sustain itself, we're sort of pegging ourselves to the false. We go down with that tower. And so we must see through the thing that's untrue. Okay. And so this person thinks that tower falling is more bigger than it can be here. And it's going to create this big fracture. And yes, towers are scary because, it's change. But I feel like the anticipation of what it could mean is actually scarier than the truth, because I think the truth is the tower is thawing. The tower is fluidity. The tower is gradual. The tower is movement, however slow or however it needs to happen. The tower isn't the snap of a finger and we're on the other side. And so maybe this person thinks this is the only way this is going to be. And then how would I go from here to there? So now there's that anticipation. And again, there's this lack mindset of trusting the divine and saying, I am not responsible for how to get from here to there. Spirit will flow me. I am not the single wave in the ocean trying to control the ocean. Okay, I am that in which is in flow state with the universe. That in which isn't attaching to anything that's false, like towers and illusions, and suppressing an authentic part of self. I am that in which allows the authentic self to speak what it needs and then open its hands up to the divine and say, take me to this thing. Even if it seems like it's going away from where I have been, because wherever this person is stuck. There's a version of them wanting to come online that hasn't been seen or experienced. And as long as this version of them is not online, this person will forever feel like they're lonely or without. It's because the truest part of me has not yet been able to express itself or be seen or connected to. And so my authenticity is not online. Only this illusion self of me, this egoic self of me, this self of me that I keep sort of engaging in the universe with, in order to maintain the thing in which I keep maintaining, which is actually creating my suffering. And so there's a thing here about releasing the chains of thought and free your mind. Because I feel like this person with this quicksilver, which I was saying was like this Mercury energy, this person believes their intrusive thought of how this tower might happen, or this event might happen, or this thing might happen in their world, that they're really trying to avoid or not experience at this time for whatever reason, thinking it could be the worst thing, or I don't know, whatever the story belief is, and it's an untrue thought. It's holding them to the past. It's holding them to an identity that's not them. And I also feel like maybe this person, because we're all in, like I said, a journey of sorts that is leading us to where we sort of need to go. And so the universe knows exactly what sort of pressure to put on us. there seems to be a pressure here, a pressure, almost an oppression, which I do feel this person is oppressing themselves, because I feel like there's an obsession here that's getting more intense for this person, which is why the loneliness feels more intense. The more lonely we feel, the longer we feel lonely, and then the more we sort of get online, because we want to get towards the more authentic self. I don't want to feel lonely no more. I don't want to experience this no more. I don't want to experience losing out or missing out or feeling frozen or cold or stuck. No, we don't. And so this obsession could be something is here to get this person to walk into authenticity, to speak some great truth, to acknowledge that they've been lonely or missing out on some part of themselves, and to acknowledge this thing and say, I am the one that's been choosing this loneliness. Obviously, we wouldn't consciously be doing it. Who would choose loneliness? No one. No one's going to press that button. But how do we get out of it? We can't just press the button and get out of it either, or else we would. What do? Well, we got to understand where this loneliness is being generated and created. It's being generated and created with this belief in scarcity that doesn't get undone overnight. But when we understand why we have the scarcity mindset, which is created by a separation consciousness, we know that we are thinking we're separate from the divine, we're separate from other, and we are the doer, and we are going out there to seek our own happiness. When we undo all those beliefs and we know that we are not the doer, that the divine is in control, that the divine is telling me where I'm supposed to be going, but I'm fighting the divine through thinking I know better, through wanting it to be in a certain way, because if I let go of this sort of way of that it's supposed to happen, I might be without, it might not work out, I might be thrown over the edge. Wow, I didn't even notice this break. And remember I was telling you it feels like a fracture of sorts, like it's rigidity. It feels like, I was going to say fragile, but it's not what I wanted to say. It's like I'm seeing I'm seeing a broken mirror, and all these shards, it kind of breaks like in frozen state. And this is the opposite, because this is like this, like Mercury would be this, it's things in the thermometer. Like it's this it's totally opposite of this break. I don't know how this person is attached to something. I mean, they're definitely attached to something. There's something I'm not understanding here or getting yet. So let's see. I'm going to pull the tarot and see what is it that we might be missing here. Pile number 2, their spiritual journey. What are they needing to know? What might be missing here in regards to what they're needing to know about their journey? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good. I'm going to leave that like that. For the greatest and highest good of pile number 2, spirits. Thank you so much for this message. What does pile 2 need to know about their journey? What am I missing? What questions do they have? Further healing, clarification. For the greatest and highest good of beautiful pile number 2. Thank you so much. We see the Knight of Cups. So again, suppressing this authentic self, because this is how we show what speaks to our heart. If I feel emotionally connected to something, this is how I express and move towards it. But if I suppress this thing, I feel without. I feel lonely. I don't feel like I'm in line with my authenticity. Queen of Wands in reverse. So this is the egoic mask. Okay, but this is also feeling not seen, not appreciated, not valued. I'm not feeling like we have the ability to do what we need to do, or the confidence to do what we need to do. It might have been stripped of us, we might feel like a failure, like I can't try to do this because I believe the false self here of what I've experienced. There's a belief in the mask, 2 of Swords, always stay put. Okay, like in the Rider-Waite's tarot, the traditional tarot, it's like someone sitting there with the 2 swords crossed. It's like a block, a block, and it could be we're in 2 minds. of two things that contradict itself. It's like this thing that I'm, like I said, I was feeling like this obsessive sort of call pull signs. The divine is intense. And if it's a battle between us and the divine, guess who wins? The divine. So the divine keeps turning on that knob. Okay, the divine's turning on the heat. Why? Because we're in another mind. And the other mind is the egoic mind, the identity mind that's keeping me stuck, the identity mind that's telling me an untruth. And so I can hold this untruth because the divine doesn't impede with your free will. Of course, you could believe untruths all day long. You could believe whatever the Hierophant taught you. That's your own free will. It creates your image, your illusion, your ego, your story. And so that's one sword. And then the other sword is the sword of truth, is divine truth. So we get to choose. Do I want to be in line with truth and my authenticity? That's going to bring me out of loneliness, more aligned with what my authentic self, my uniqueness, and my self-expression? Or am I going to choose the other sword, which is where I am stuck here in some way? So I don't know if we're choosing to work with community or collaborate with other or develop a family or community, or we're being called to break out of family community because this is all I've ever known. And I'm telling myself an untruth that I got to be here, that I'm doing something here. That's like I got to break off and be independent. Again, don't know which, but there's one sort of truth for this person, which is opposite of where they're sort of sitting. Because I feel this person is being stretched and they feel like, oh no, I'm going to break, I'm being pulled by these two worlds. And as long as I sort of believe the masked self and I suppress where I really want to be called towards, then I sit here in agony and suffering, lonely, and choosing sort of the temporary place. But again, temporary place, the 3D place here, rather than the greater good. Okay, tower, preventing the tower, because God forbid, like I said, it's going to be this big sort of shattering. And so I anticipate some sort of shattering. So I'm keeping up this tower, this false world that I've held in place, but it's only a matter of time because this is exhausting. This tower is going to fall. 9 swords. Yeah, look at, if I were to pick a picture of 9 swords, this would be a 9 swords picture. Repeat thoughts. Anticipating the worst thing. Thinking of what could happen, what might happen, coulda, woulda, shouldas, can't eat, can't sleep, running through my mind, keeping me put. And then Spirit keeps intensifying that so that we can say no more. I can't be in my head no more. We're the ones that say enough. Spirit's not going to all of a sudden just do something here and impede on our free will. But Spirit will put our reality in front of us. And so we could either be in ignorance or we could choose to see reality. And when we don't choose to see reality, we start to suffer till we can't no more. This person's suffering in their mind till they can't no more, until they let go of this tower and let it fall. Because right now they're still sort of thinking that their way is still right, or that the ego still has a leg to stand on, or there is still some sort of thing to be salvaged here. But it's like, yeah, but you're trading this. So no, there is no salvage there. That's just a lie. Yeah, the Hierophant, like I said, some way of being that's been integrated into this person thinking that this is right, or this is how I have to be. So I don't know where the belief got implanted, but it's generating this person's actions. So it's either I got to be single and do it my way like this, and I can't get integrated into society because that's my way, how I've always been in some form or fashion. And I believe that any other way is going to contradict that, and it will be a failure or not work because, again, scarcity and lack. Or I must, like I said, do the greater good for, because this is what got beat into me at birth. Whatever this thing is, okay? Either way, it's beat in at birth because it's a belief we have here. And we're trying to upkeep this sort of belief at all costs. But the tower's coming to say this is a man-made story that we're telling ourselves. And then we're doing actions like this is true. And we don't want to let this untruth sort of fall away. Why? Because then we'll see through it and be like, oh no, I've been supporting an untruth, or I've been supporting the false self, or I've been doing this egoic thing. I've been wearing a mask this whole time. Yes, you have. 9 Pentacles. So again, I don't know which it is. Going on your own, independent of this thing, or thinking we're so independent that we can't be a part of the group. It's one or the other for both camps here, okay? Temperance, yeah, healing, balance. So this could be, heart-mind balance. Okay, because there's lots of mind here, Mercury energy. And it's like, when I think about it, I keep coming up with the same idea. But why then do I feel this other way? I'll just pretend I don't feel that way because it's true. Logically, this makes sense. But why do I feel this way? Or I constantly feel this way, lonely, not understood, isolated, island unto self. Why? Because feelings are true as well. We must integrate both mind and feeling. We cannot suppress the feeling to support a mind story. And I think we have a mind story that we're telling ourselves that either we have to do it alone, be alone, cannot let anyone sort of assist us in any way, or else they might disappoint us, or we might then lose out on something, or have to give something up, or break, or be like weak or fragile, or we are so attached to community because we're giving of ourselves in some way here that we can't break free on our own because we believe that me being on my own is going to be weak. I'm not going to succeed. And so I'm like totally in that other energy. We're not balanced, okay? So what is Spirit talking about here? Spirit is talking about a great truth. And there could be many sort of truths happening. Okay, there could be many, but there's only one divine sort of truth. And divine truth trumps any man-made sort of beliefs, any egos, any identities, any experiences even that you've had, if this is you. Okay? And so it's like revealing or removing the veil that we've always carried to see the great truth could be very scary. And Spirit is preparing this person to know that the great truth is there, and it's there to be seen and experienced, and it will be seen and experienced at some point. So either we can detach from the identity and the illusion bit by bit by bit, or we could cling to it and then have a painful sort of realization here when it sort of snaps, you know? This is why we don't get attached, because when we're attached and it doesn't happen, it's like we're going down with the tower. We have that attachment. We get angry. We feel like it's a part of who we are, and part of self goes with it. It could be very abrupt. And so we're being called to see through the illusion, and we're being called to have more flexibility here. I don't think this is a one and done or a be all. And so maybe this is the belief here is like, once I give in a bit, I've lost my independence, you know, because I feel this is all about an independent self, like either having to be independent and what that looks like from a healthy aspect, or, you know, yeah, it's a healthy independent self that we're learning to do. And I don't know, we're relying on people or we're not being able to rely on people. Again, don't know the angle, and it could be like both. And maybe this is why it's coming through. It's like, I rely on this group of people and I shun this other group, you know? How is that helping? We might have outgrown these people, and we might have one idea of these people, you know, and it could be culturally like only these people will do this. Meanwhile, maybe we're being called to another culture or another sort of maybe religion, or like intermingle with someone here. You know, it's like, no, my culture does not allow for it, or my belief doesn't allow for it, or I must leave my family home to go to it. And so it must not be true because it's not logically making any sense. It's like, no, it's not going to logically make sense because it's not all about logic. And this belief was man-made. And this is why we're unhappy, because we're suppressing where we're being called to go to, which is our own truth. So it might not be that family's truth. It might not be that culture's truth, but it's your truth. And so we sit here trying to convince ourselves why we can't and shouldn't and wouldn't, and it logically makes sense at the suppression. Okay, so now I'm repeating myself, but this is your reading. Pile number 2. I hope this helped you, and I will see you at the next one. All right, bye-bye. Gorgeous angel, pile number 3. You guys pick the rose quartz turtle, and we're looking at your spiritual journey and what you're needing to know or understand or see at this time. Now, like I mentioned in the intro, this definitely could be energy around you, okay? If you're sort of experiencing a situation if you're experiencing growth on a relationship or a connection of sorts, you could definitely be tapped into someone else's energy here, okay? But it might be reflecting a mirror back to you, what you're needing to sort of see within self. So don't reject anything that might feel like it's resonating or sort of speaking to some part of your subconscious, okay? But definitely do not force anything to fit, okay? This should resonate for you and your spiritual journey, okay? But I don't know where I'm connecting to or who I'm connecting to when it comes to that. Only Spirit knows where I'm going to be tapping into. So we're asking, though, for the greatest and highest good of pile number 3. What is it that we're needing to see about pile 3's spiritual journey at this time? What is going on spiritually with pile 3 at this time? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. If you guys want to skip ahead, you guys can do so, okay? But I do suggest you sit through the card layout if you are developing your intuition. And best way to do this is to ask the divine, which you'll see, feel, or hear, to determine whether this message is for you throughout the card layout. Okay, it's the best way to know whether we're at the right pile or not, okay? But there is a timestamp. You can certainly skip ahead if you want to go straight away to the channeled message. Pile number 3 and their spiritual journey. I do feel one more. What are they needing to know right here, right now about their spiritual journey, spirits? Thank you so much. And thank you so, so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. Spirit, please help me to channel in a way pile 3 will understand for the greatest and highest good of their journey. You're so blessed to be here. So we have 3 more decks to shuffle from for pile 3, their spiritual journey. Two more decks for pile 3, Spirit. What are they needing to know right here, right now regarding their spiritual journey? Clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. And finally, from the Blind Spot Oracle, what is pile 3 needing to know right here, right now? One more. Feeling that one. Okay. Alrighty. Let's take a look. So we have projection, 33 and 6. So 33, master number, reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness, joy. 6 is devil meets lovers. We have Capricorn and Gemini energy. Projection, expulsion from yourself. External reproach, shifting, victimization, externalization, and external attribution. Type 6, the loyalist, thinking centered between mistrust and trust. Defense mechanism. What's funny is I never channel this in this way, but what I was hearing was my twin flame was telling me, stop putting words in my mouth. And what was coming through was, nobody could put words in your mouth but you. Like, you put your own words in your mouth, you know? It was like, I don't have power to put words in your mouth. And he says, don't put words in my mouth. Anyway, that just came through here. And so this is heavy, like projection, you know? You're putting words in my mouth. It's like, I do no such thing. I could do no such thing. So what does that mean? Solitude, 41 and 5. Preservation, isolation, cocoon, solitary, protection, and withdrawal. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior with the number 5. So all this blue is the authentic self-expression. Don't put words in my mouth. Okay, and then 5 is Hierophant. So we're feeling some Taurus and some Sagittarius energy here with solitude. I'm feeling some sort of hermit energy as well with the solitude, okay? Protection and withdrawal, okay. Then we feel, oh my goodness, we feel betrayal. We have betrayal here. Healing begins with acceptance and forgiveness. Deception, treachery, and backstabbing. All right. Interesting. And we have distancing. So the more of this like hermit energy, pulling away energy, conscious awakening, it says. This says fixation. Okay, 23 and 5. So more fives. 5 is a master number. Change is the only constant. Divinely orchestrated change. Lots with the blue, which is the throat chakra. So distancing, need for understanding, emotional withdrawal, disassociation, fear of intrusion, feeling of emptiness, knowledge dependence. Type 5, the observer, thinking center between interior and exterior. And what I got was this fear of intrusion was like, again, don't put words in my mouth. It's coming through very strong with that. I'm reading. Wow. Secret relationship, 76 and 4. So 4 is Aries energy and Scorpio. Okay, it's divine masculine energy. So what's the secret relationship? Hidden relationship, forbidden affair, adultery, a fling, a lover, a mistress, an unofficial couple. Type 4, the individualist, emotional center between lack and abundance. Difficult event, stress level. I don't know, I'm having challenge reading. And then we have inaction, 54 and 9. So there's that hermit energy. Okay, inaction, slowness, languor, inertia, laziness, indolence. Oh my goodness, and procrastination. Type 9, the peacemaker, instinctive center between forgetting and asserting oneself. Solar plexus energy. And then we have dependency. Find strength in self-sufficiency and empowerment. We have reliance, neediness, and addiction. Find strength in self-sufficiency and empowerment. Okay. This feels very deep here. Divine love. Oh my goodness. Acceptance to receive. Unconditional love. Self-esteem. Pure altruism. Universal empathy. Personal well-being. 2. So 2 is about balance and duality choices. It's high priestess energy, which is Pisces. Okay, but this could definitely be talking about divinely guided relationship here with this high priestess 2 energy. Type 2, the helper, emotional center between giving and receiving with the root chakra. And I'm feeling root chakra, I'm kicked back to this addiction and this dependency. Okay. And then we have identification, 53. So this is an egoic sort of energy with the identification, because we're identifying as something and we're not anything we identify as. There is no I, self, to identify as. Okay, there's just divine being. So 53, or the number 8. 8 is my card of ego, because it's the card of strength. So we're feeling some Leo. But 8 is all about movement and change. Okay, and then we have 18, which is moon energy, avoidance. So the moon could talk about fears, subconscious emotions, be avoiding our emotions, but the avoidance here is deflecting through a way of projection, through a way of separating self by the illusion of separation, by distancing oneself, by not making something official potentially here, not taking action. There seems to be a very slow energy here, which could create this betrayal, because it's like a lack of trust, But we could have experienced a betrayal, therefore we created this way of coping, which is an avoidance, and we identify as that. So it's like a vicious circle I'm seeing here, Mars. So empowerment, confidence to walk and talk our truth. Okay, this is like speak what we need to speak with this blue, do what we need to do, feel empowered to do it from a place of authenticity and stand our ground. But if we're lacking confidence and trust in our ability to speak and talk and walk our truth, we might be going against it, avoiding it, suppressing it, or fearing it. So divine masculine energy again with this 4. Okay, this is Aries Scorpio ruling planet. So ash. This could be this betrayal, because ash could be what once remained is sort of completely gone. It had to be burnt away. So this could be like a metaphor for like the phoenix. Before it rises, it must sort of get rid of everything here, like the egoic self or the identification. Okay, so 33 is a master number, which is about reproduction, creativity, humor, Christ consciousness. I'm getting divine feminine from this energy. Okay, with the 3s and 3 here as well. So we got 33, 33. So you might be seeing 4 threes. Just leave it in the comments if you do see this message, because I do want to know what 4 threes might be. Okay, but like I said, it's reproduction, creativity, Christ consciousness, and harmony and joy. Okay, but threes are all about growth, relationships. Okay, it's divine empress energy. It's also hangman, which is about change perspective. It's also about the ascended self, the enlightened self. Okay, so we have Chiron and Neptune with 57. Chiron is the wounded healer. Neptune's the ruling planet for Pisces. So Pisces could certainly be this more dreamy type state. Something might be coming through with dreams or like emotions and that sort of a thing here. Okay, we might not be in reality here when it comes to what we're needing to sort of connect to or get grounded, I feel here. Something we're healing. Okay, so 57. What is that, 12? Hangman? Yeah, so a change of perspective here. And then we have Moon and Venus, so more Moon energy, more Cancer. Okay, but the Moon's giving me, again, this like illusion or this like fear or this navigating the uncertainty. Venus is the planet of love, which could be also talking about appearance. And I do feel like there's something here about emotions that's coming through when it comes to love and expressing. And 12 again, Hangman again. So, all right, and then that would be 3 again. Okay, Venus ruling planet for Taurus, Libra. So let me do this and get these all in order, and then we will start to channel. You guys can definitely skip ahead. I am going to read this. Let me get the box here. And let's see what we see. 57. 57, it says, Chiron Neptune, conjunct sextile trine, primitive. You are lost in escapism and a way to avoid pain. Adaptive, you are gifted as a multidimensional healing. Evolving, you're a renowned energy healer. In conjunct opposition square, primitive, you use addiction to free from your trauma. And that was really standing out for me as well. Okay, adaptive, you use divine spiritual tools to address trauma. Evolving, you are able to clear trauma through energy work and meditation. So Moon and Venus, I'm hearing my twin flame again. That's interesting. It says, I don't do meditation. Oh, geez. You know, funny if you're coming through this reading very strong here. Okay, Moon, Venus. So it says, conjunct sextile trine, primitive. You smother other people with your relentless need to express affection. Oh my gosh, sounds like me. This reading is hilarious. Adaptive, your exceptional emotional grace provides a safe space where others can know how much they are loved. Evolving, people look up to you as a paragon of beauty and compassion. You personify vulnerability and balance. In conjunct opposition square, primitive, you feel trapped in relationships. You often mistreat the people you love when you feel irritated by them. Adaptive, you recognize the creative tension between what you need and what you love and address it thoughtfully. Evolving, you create beauty and harmony from the tempest of your emotions. Love becomes a way for you to exercise your emotional creativity. Okay, this is very clear to me, this channel, okay? I could really resonate with this pile as well. So let me sit here just a little longer and then I'll begin to channel here. You guys can definitely skip ahead. Okay, beautiful angel pile number 3. I'm going to read the signs here, okay? It could be your sun, moon, rising sign. It could be someone you're dealing with in a situation. I am feeling 2 energies here. I'm feeling a relationship of sorts, okay? Especially with the secret relationship and this divine love that's coming through here, although love could be for anyone and anything, and we're in relationship with everyone and anything, but I do feel there's 2 energies here. So the signs that I'm reading, okay, are Capricorn and Gemini. And Pisces, Libra, Leo, Cancer, Scorpio, Taurus, Libra, Virgo, and Sagittarius. Okay, I know that's quite a bit, but that's what I'm feeling here. Okay, so what's going on here with this energy? There's two energies I feel here. So when we're talking about a journey, this is most likely a journey with other, okay, that's mirroring something back to us. Now, it could be a part of self. This could be a separate person, okay, no one is separate, but another individual that is mirroring back to us a certain part of ourselves. And so there's two energies I'm seeing here. Okay, there's divine masculine energy and there's divine feminine energy. And I'm just talking about energy today. I'm not talking about gender. But like I always say, if I want to talk about gender, I can. But in this reading, I'm talking about energy. And so there is, but in this case, I don't think it's totally highlighting the masculine and the feminine so much as it is highlighting the mirror being shown to each other. And I feel like there's a lot of projection that we're working through. Okay, because there is only one way that we're capable of engaging in the world, and that is through our own veil. Our veil is the only veil we could see through. Until we realize we're wearing a veil and that what we might be perceiving might not necessarily be true, we will continue to act in the world under that illusion that that veil is true, and that the way I see it and the way I experience it is 100% true, and it's God's truth and it's accurate. Meanwhile, it's not necessarily true. It's our own veil, and we can carry whatever we want to carry and drop whatever we don't need to carry, whatever's heavy here. Okay, I feel there's two people learning about unconditional love, learning how to accept, give, and receive from an open space, meaning there is no condition. It's not transactional. And when we go here, there's a lot of fears that come into play because it would require a vulnerability here of trusting and letting go of the false self and all of the stories and all of the things that I fear might happen or that I think are true, because that's my perception and it has always been my perception. And so there's a strong attachment to that in which I believe. And so now when I'm up against a choice, love or seeing what I think is true, how do I go against what I think is true to choose love? I can't, because the ego is terrified of saying, but I know this is true. I know this is true because I've experienced this sort of a truth. And so when I lean in and side with that truth, which is a projection, I lose out or I stay in illusion and I perpetuate a form of suffering. Either I create arguments or there's resistance or I'm missing out or an experience here that shows back to me love again. And so I'm stuck in a situation. Now I say stuck, we're never really stuck, but experience of life that puts in front of us a situation so we learn about divine love. This situation has brought these two sort of people or this mirror, this experience to this person, these people, however you want to channel it, okay? But this part is very clear. This is a lesson of unconditional love, seeing through the illusion and that which we create. We identify as the egoic version of us to create protection. Okay, now I went into this, I think in pile 2, why this ego sort of gets created. When we're born, we are truly feeling as though we were separate from the universe, separate from other. And this creates all sorts of action. Well, the minute we feel separate or believe that we're separate, we start to act as if we're separate and we feel we are lacking. And then we must seek that in which we lack, attach and grab it and take it and keep it. So I want love for me. I must find it, keep it, and hang on to it. Okay, but this is an inward energy. Love is expansive and love is giving. Okay, but it's an open energy, so it's giving and receiving and flow. Not resisting, not saying, oh, I don't want that. I'm going to avoid that or resist that or not acknowledge that. Okay, because then that's not being receiving. Receiving means I receive whatever comes in and I am open to sharing and being of service and giving love, expansive energy. It's radiant. Love feels radiant and expansive. Whereas contracting energy is the ego. I take and I keep because I believe in lack And if I don't hang on to it, if I have to give it, then I'm going to lack it. So I want to take it and keep it. Okay, but that's scarcity mindset. There's not enough. So I must hang on to it. Okay, but if I go searching and I don't find it, I feel empty. I must find it so I can search and take for myself. So there's learning how to switch from taking and keeping to giving and receiving. Giving and receiving we can only do when we're in a state of love, not when we're in a state of ego, which is lack and that belief that I'm missing out or that illusion of separation. Okay, and the only way to break through the illusion of separation is through what? Through transmutation of energy, meaning this illusion that I believe so strong that I am separate from you will eventually go away once I work through working through my own ego, my own projections, my own shadow. Only through the process of transmutation can I see through this shadow where it no longer exists. And the only thing that stands true and strong is love. Why? Because love is true. Love is God, is the truth. Okay, ego is that of the devil, the shadow. It's the false self. It is a mind activity. It's what I've always done, what I believed. Okay, or what I believe, and then I always do. I act out of this belief. Okay, and so the mind activity is untrue because it's only an activity. It's not a truth here. Okay, and so there's a truth that transcends the belief that we have in the identity that we're creating in order to protect ourselves, because the ego is there to protect ourselves. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to trust and then be let down. I need to find what it is I need so I feel whole. Me. I. That's the ego. I want to feel love. I want to feel whole. I need to take this and keep this or else I'll be without. Okay, transactional, ego, all about me and I. And so this switch to this energy of love can only be opened through unconditional love of other and experiencing an unconditional love. Pure altruism. So this is stretching us beyond this sort of more lower density. Okay, call it the 3D density. Okay, which is how we've engaged in the world up until now. You versus me, separation consciousness, how I can like climb up this sort of evolution ladder. So I must be the stronger of the two. And now we're getting to closer to the divine truth, which is spiritual truth, which is I am you, you are me, I am my brother, my sister. Okay, and so through this divine truth, we are closer to reality, a capital R, okay, like God's truth, which is we're not separate. Unity consciousness, the only thing that creates this illusion is this belief in illusion and identification. We must transmute this. Okay, so one person here is avoidance. And I do feel like one person might have an addiction here, okay? I feel like there is addiction when it comes to how we engage in pattern. And there might be an addiction to self. So there might be a codependency here, okay? And we might be working through codependency because love is online. True love is online. And when true love is online, there's the truth. But it's also behind and underneath the distortion of the projection and the egoic identification that needs to be transmuted so that the only thing that remains is true love. Okay, and so there's codependency, there's truth here, and then there's ego. But I also feel someone might be battling some form of an addiction, which could be in a way of substance, because there's a suppression of some pain that needs to get experienced. Okay, and so the best way to sort of not experience pain is to avoid, resist, and sort of suppress, distract, and deny, and sort of avoid, however we can do this thing, okay? Because I do feel like this person, the one that I'm tapped into here, that might be sort of trying to not experience a full sort of acceptance of emotion, who might not want to be feeling whatever experience they had in the past that's led to a betrayal or led to a hurt, led to a 3 swords that is somewhere in the subconscious that needs to be experienced and felt. And so I numb myself through way of whatever I use. Okay. And I do feel like the other person here might have a dependency that's in the opposite. Instead of avoiding, is needy or clingy or dependent and feels abandoned. when this other person sort of creates this distance. I avoid, I create distance because I can't even tap into this part of myself. And then the other person feels like it's personal, it's a projection error. It must be me. I must not be loved. You're distancing me. I must be not good. I must not be whole. And so now my ego wants to attach to you even more because it thinks it's without, because it identifies as a separate self. It identifies with lack. It identifies with separation consciousness. It is not separate. It is whole and complete. It doesn't need to attach to anyone or anything. And it needs to see that someone that is avoiding, that is suffering, that is numbing self or distracting self, it has nothing to do with this other person. Okay, I feel like there is an unofficial couple going on here because I feel like until two people are actually healthy and confident and capable to commit to one another through the acceptance of love, there is this belief in the false self driving the agenda. I can't because I'm gonna avoid what it is that I'm being confronted to do. In order to partake in a divine love, there is no workaround. There is no fast tracking our way to this. There's only through transmutation of burning everything down that is not real. Everything in the ego that contradicts divine love. Judgment, false narratives, lack, scarcity mindset, separation consciousness, all of this stuff must be transmuted in order for there to be true divine love online. Now, like I said, it's there, but it's underneath all of this distorted energy. It can't be experienced or seen if we're still in the sleep and in the ego and projection. And so the ego and the projection is what is being burnt away. Now, I feel like the person here who's avoiding is creating space. There might be somebody here who is isolated, might feel like they're misunderstood, might feel like they can't fully express themselves, might want to be able to have the ability to be seen as they are, as we all should. Okay, but we're the only ones that could sort of come online as ourselves. Okay, so play that again. Nobody can obviously be your mouthpiece, okay? And so, yes, we could be like understood without saying a word, for sure. But there's a true authentic self within the person here who I feel is avoiding and suppressing and creating this sort of distance, that wants to come online, that wants to be able to express its truest version of self and be seen like this and accept it exactly as it is, as it should be from truth, in order to take action, to walk and talk this great truth, regardless of the consequences. But there's projecting of what has happened that is real to me, that is creating my now action or lack thereof, that isn't allowing me to feel confident in walking, talking my truth, or going after what it is that I want, or solidifying anything here. And so there's this like gray area, and I feel it's still gray because we have some divine love mixed in with ego as some identity, right? And the identity, like I said, is created to protect this inner self that doesn't want to be felt at this moment, because it's safer to be protected, to lean into the identity I create. But really, this self wants to come out, because the only way for this self to really sort of experience divine love, it must come out, and the pain must be experienced, or the transmutation, or the realization. And the realization of this pain or this transmutation is going to have to be felt through. There's no way around it. And so the only driver here that will bring us out to the surface, that will make us worthy of fighting for the truth or our authenticity, is that of divine love. Because no one like my beloved or my divine will bring me towards greater truth. And so it does get, the catalyst is someone else, okay, but the truth is actually the divine. It's not other. And that's what we see beyond. It's like this other person is not my truth. We got to break the codependency. Yes, this other person could have catalyzed me into this divine love and this unconditional love, and is this motivator driving me. Without this person or this mirror or this like triggering of this feeling I have here, I would just run away, suppress, deny, avoid as long as I could. And I would just, the other person, be needy, helpless, clingy, and whatever it is that I'm doing, okay, as the other person here, and have this codependency that's mirrored in the opposite, projecting as long as I could. But when we tip the scales, because now we experience some divine love in a mirror that's showing back to me God, that I am an extension of God, that the Creator is within me, that there is a greater truth within me that transcends the illusion and the egoic belief that I had, that I thought was me, that I must transmute and get rid of this non-self that's creating the suffering. Even if this means I got to walk through the fire and go through intense suffering, like the dark night of the soul, in order to be consciously awakened to a great truth, then that's what I must do. Why must I do it? Because I'm being called to do it through this mirror, through this experience. So these people are on a journey of self-realization, of seeing the divine truth within them through love and a mirror of divine love of each other, which is absolutely beautiful. So there's this healing, and this could be happening through dreams. Okay. But it's certainly tapped into the deepest part of our emotions, the deepest part of our subconscious. And it goes all the way to how we're expressing ourselves and manifesting ourselves in the 3D world with this Venus, how I'm being seen, my image, the actions I'm taking, the words I'm speaking, everything from the root of the subconscious, okay, the deepest, darkest shadows, my fears, things that I haven't even realized about myself are all coming up to the surface here in order for me to deal with it. I must deal with it. And when I say deal with it, doesn't mean run from it, doesn't mean pretend it's not there, doesn't mean suppress it again, doesn't mean break it off into a different compartment of self. This means this version of me is coming up to the surface for me to look at and deal with it in a balanced way, in a way that it is assertive, meaning I can deal with it, take action on it if I need to, express it if I need to, be silent if I need to, but it's in line with truth. I'm not only being silent so I can suppress or so I can manipulate or control energy or avoid, rather than using substance, rather than using another person to be codependent, rather than using something to make me feel whole and complete. The only way I will feel whole and complete is when I connect to divine love. Because when I connect to this divine love that's within me, which is God love, which is within me, has always been within me. But once I connect to it, I no longer need anyone or anything, substances, distractions, coping mechanisms, other people. I am truly centered. And I have control over my emotions. And I can see when my shadows come out. I could see when my projections are coming out. I could see when my ego is online. I could see the personas I've created. I now know when I'm going into avoidance or when I'm trying to deflect or when I'm trying to react out of an experience that's hurt me, but it might create more suffering because I'm tucking it away or not acknowledging it. And so to shove myself in a corner or to be unloved or to tell myself that I'm not worthy of coming online to communicate this truth, because that's what I'm telling myself when I silence myself, when I don't speak on my truth, when I avoid people, when I push them out, it's saying, I don't feel like I'm worthy enough to speak this truth. Why not? This truth needs to be heard and seen. This truth needs to be expressed. This truth needs to be acted upon. But we need to know the difference between the truth, the divine truth and love, and the illusion and the fear and the subconscious that's reacting out of betrayal. And the only way to do this is to see through the veil and to, like I said, transmute the ego, burn through it, which isn't a pleasant process, but that's the only way to get through it. And so there's a lot of defense mechanisms coming online between these two that I think these two are learning the dance, because both these people feel very defensive, you know? The one feels very avoidant, distractive, numbing, relying on certain things to sort of not deal and coping in certain ways. And the other one might get very defensive because they're taking things personal. There's a codependency. There's a fear of abandonment. There's a need to sort of prove to me what I am or who I am or my value. It's like, no one can prove to you your value. No one's going to show you anything. There's no amount of officialness or words or actions out there that can do any justice to you, other person. The only way to be solid in truth is to connect to the divinity. Then no amount of words, no amount of action can take away or minimize or do anything to the centeredness of feeling whole and complete and totally seen and centered. Okay, so these two are learning about unconditional love, centering, and dealing with everything sort of that's suppressed within the subconscious to be dealt with in a healthy way, in a balanced way, by dancing with each other. Okay, which is very challenging to do. And so there could be a beginning of massive triggering where we go into hermit mode. So this partnership is triggering hermit, and the only way to do the transmutation is through the hermit's work. Why? Because the hermit's work is shadow work. The hermit's work is sitting with truths. The hermit's work is reflecting upon self, the truest self. The true self is this divine love, is God love. Everything else is ego, identity, defense mechanisms, coping ways, destructive ways that we engage, that we think is us in order to push people out and protect ourselves from getting hurt again. Okay, so let's take a look at the tarot. What does pile 3 need to know about this? 10 wands, and it is in the sideways position because 10 wands for me is, it's carrying the burden, but it's also the card of surrender. Okay, where we can't know more. And so what's the burden? Suffering. The burden is the false self creates this burden upon me. So much so that I have no choice but to surrender. Surrender this addiction, surrender this coping mechanism, surrender the false self, surrender being defensive. I give it to you, God. Why? Because I feel a lot of love in my heart, for other, because I see self in other. And when I see self in other, I see you, God, the truth. The only way to see this is when it gets presented in front of you. Okay, and so both these people are learning about surrendering the false self so that the true self can come online. Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is about how we follow our passions. The Knight of Wands is our inspiration. It's the fire of life. Okay, the thing that sort of gets us moving and motivated. It's life force energy, essentially, okay? Like what gets us up in the morning is this Knight of Wands energy. The 3 of Wands in reverse. I might as well flip this one. The Emperor in reverse. So divine masculine energy. And 3, it could definitely be talking about the divine empress, but we have a block here. Okay, a block to growth. So inaction is this 3 wands in reverse. Inaction is this Emperor in reverse. This ego identification is this Emperor in reverse. This projection is this Emperor in reverse. Emperor in reverse could mean completely acting out of shadow. Fears, thinking I'm the ego, I'm in control, lack of confidence, maybe stubbornness. It's believing what the ego has to sell. And as long as I believe it, I am stuck and I'm not moving and I'm not growing. And I keep creating whatever I am. And so this is in past position. So a lot of you guys might be coming out of this. If you're in this, know that the next sort of phase here, which I feel is more current, is this period of surrender, release, putting down the heaviness of this ego, putting down the heaviness of what's not me, putting down the heaviness of inaction and an inability to move forward because we've been stagnant or stuck too long, maybe suffering, maybe arguing, maybe defensive, maybe in this hermit sort of energy, feeling alone, feeling isolated and abandoned for too long, that I have no choice but to surrender and learn how to surrender because I'm suffering. The longer I'm apart from my divine, okay, now there's the divine love, your beloved, and then there's the divine, which is always within you, which is God. We don't just wake up unless we're like Eckhart Tolle and connect to God suddenly. Okay, this is through a process of being shown to me. My ego's being shown through a way of suffering. Every time there's like a period of maybe distance, okay, where I miss my beloved, where I'm in a state of suffering, it's shown to me what within me is creating this, where I might need to acknowledge, where I might not have been acknowledging self. 6 swords, we're getting out of 5 swords, sabotage, conflict that's created by the ego, you versus me, winning at all costs because the ego wants to defend itself, surrendering this sort of mindset so we can move to calmer Waters, Page of Swords, Knight of Wands, and the Queen of Pentacles, and under that's the Hermit. So strong Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn, and Page can talk about communication. Knight can talk about taking action. It's one of the fastest moving knights. So if some of you guys are resonating with this very profound reading, we are getting out of difficult times here, okay? Both of you guys are learning a process of surrender here, which will allow you guys to actually start to move towards a greater understanding of truth, of what it is that you guys want, okay? Like individually, and then this will allow you guys to understand how to move together. Because I do feel like there's an energy that we can only be in when we see the great truth, which is grounded, able to sort of rely on ourselves independently, but also confidently be able to rely on other, provide for other, without there being any sort of ego online. Meaning, I like this Queen of Pentacles is like mother energy. The mother never says, okay, kid, because I took care of you, you know, I changed your diaper. Now you need to go and cook my supper. It's like the mother is selfless here, but the mother also isn't selfless to the point where it's enabling the child, because the child is the mother's top priority, that the child, for the greater good of the child, the mother might make tough decisions. But she's not making tough decisions so that the child could suffer, or so she says, so I can gain. That would be ego. You know, I'm not going to make the dinner here because I need to save, you know, an hour a day for me, and sort of talk her way why that's good to not make dinner for her child. But she might say, I'm going to, you know, not let my child eat a whole bunch of dessert before dinner because it might create this unhealthy thing for my child. So it's always the best interest of other. Okay. And people get this skewed. Okay. And why do they get this skewed? Because we are in third density consciousness, transactional love. What's in it for me? That's ego. What's in it for me? You must be in this energy. It's like, no, when we're not in a state of giving and receiving, we are still in a state of separation. Them versus me. That is 5 swords. There is no separate self. There is just one being. And when we come in this mother energy, it's divine truth, because the mother will always pick the truth. She's not doing it so she could have the advantage. She is picking divine truth for the greater good. And sometimes the truth means difficult decisions for the child, which means in this connection, there's difficult truths that need to happen, but it comes from a place of love, confidence, groundedness, compassion. Okay, but it's manifested in the 3D with this Queen of Pentacles. It isn't just some fantasy. It's like I can bring into the 3D this groundedness, this compassion, this love from a place of truth, because I've done this work. I've reflected on what's great and true. And only when I reflect on what's great and true, sit with the core of who I am, can I see the divine within me. And only when I see the divine within me, I can see the divine within you. If I don't see the divine within me, I will never see the divine within you. I will keep projecting my ego onto you, judging you, expecting you to do this and do that. And only then will I be happy, or my ego. So now it's conditional. Now I have transaction. I'm requiring you to do something for me. No. I connect to divine being and divine light. I am at peace with my divine being and my divine light. I see God within me, therefore I see God within you. And that is truth. Everything else is illusion. Everything else is defense mechanisms, is ego, is me projecting and creating all sorts of things that don't need to happen here when we are on this journey, because we are beacons of divine light, divine love. Unconditional love means no conditions. There isn't only but sometimes, and sometimes this and sometimes that. No, unconditional love is truth. Truth. And remember, truth sometimes is separation. Truth sometimes is painful, but as long as it is in truth. So we must always know our intention. And how do we know our intention? When we're full of ego, shadow, and the veil of distortion. We won't know the truth. So we start acting in certain ways, but it's really fear that's driving. It's the subconscious that's driving. It's me saying certain things so I can get certain outcome. It's me manipulating energy. It's me frantically trying to cling because I have an addiction or a dependency or an avoidance, or I'm trying to protect myself. Well, no. Well, then that's not truth. That's ego. And so I must burn through all of that. Burn through that, you guys. All right. So, gorgeous angel, this is your reading. I hope this helped you. I love you guys very much. This isn't easy, and bless you guys. I will see you guys at the next one. All right. Bye-bye.